This is pretty cool. Pretty cool setup.
If you like whiskey and you like wisdom and you like a whole lot of shenanigan bullshit in between, you should like and subscribe to this channel because me and Chris are bringing it every single week with some crazy bullshit. And what else?
All right, we're live.
Oh God, it burns.
Welcome back to another episode of Wisdom, Whiskey, and
Dragonball Z.
Dragonball Z. We're doing a tribute to Akira Toriyama today.
If you noticed all the Dragonball Z stuff that Daniel's collected since we were kids.
Yeah, and our attire here. This shirt's from 1999. Chris just bought his a few weeks ago.
Yeah, this is from last year, actually.
That's funny. So, Chris, what kind of whiskey are we trying today?
So we're trying a Japanese whiskey. This is Suntory Toki. Toki in Japanese is translated into time. And Toki is a blended whiskey. It's blended from 3 different distilleries. And
Oh, you got some notes there.
I do. It is from the Yamakaze, Hakushu, and Cheetah distilleries. And the main components are the Hakushu single malt and the Cheetah grain whiskey. Says it should work really well in a highball. What you should be getting on the nose is soft orchard fruits, thyme, honey, joined by helping of peppermint in the backdrop. And on the palate, you should look for green apple, bright citrus notes, grapefruit, bitter herbs, toasted almonds, and vanilla oak lingering underneath. Finishing with a white pepper and ginger spice on the finish.
Sounds very complicated.
Yeah, this is, well, this is from their website, so we'll see what we actually get.
All right. Now that we have mics, listen to this.
You can actually
Hey,
hear
you know
that.
what? That sounds good.
Yeah, so for the people that normally watch us, like all 10 or 20 of you guys, you'll notice that we got a different chair that I'm sitting in instead of the couch because of how much noise the other couch was making when we plugged the microphones in.
You had a weight limit on it.
Oh, and something else, like in most of the okay, I just called that. In most of the episodes, we always alluded to this being a prop.
And now it is.
It's
plugged
not a
in.
prop anymore.
Hey, that's
Nice.
awesome.
All right, well, let's get this party started, shall we?
I can't even hear it. You can hear it.
That is really cool.
That's a great sound effect.
Sure is.
It's,
Almost sounds like something you putting on a radio there.
does.
I poured myself a little more than you, Chris, but
That's
that's
okay.
because I drink more.
Yeah,
All right, so
I gotta drive home, so
we have a guest in the house. We might as well tell everybody is 4 years sober, so he's not going to be partaking.
are we assholes for drinking whiskey in front of them?
I don't believe so.
Nah.
Oh.
I mean, I wouldn't let you drink it anyway.
If it was 4 weeks sober, yes. 100%.
4 years sober, you're good.
I'm good. I'm good.
It smells really good. It smells clean. I can smell that green apple.
Yeah, I was going for like a pear.
Oh, yeah, like a Bosque.
Of course, Japanese whiskey is heavily influenced by Scotch.
You ready to taste it?
Yep.
Cheers.
Man, that was loud. Oh yeah, you can definitely taste the Scotch influence with the malted barley.
Yeah, for sure.
This is only the second Japanese whiskey I've ever tasted.
My first.
I had Hibiki before, but that was a long time ago.
It's pretty good. You know, it doesn't have a whole lot of depth to it, though. It's real crisp and clean.
What I was smelling on the nose, I'm tasting in this.
Yeah.
Like maybe green apple, but for me, I'm thinking more pear.
Yeah. I'm not a big pear guy. I probably haven't eaten a pear in like 20 years. But
That reminds me.
Maybe you might be now.
There you go.
Yeah.
That reminds me of an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when they go to the market to get Charlie a pear because he's never eaten a pear.
Yeah. I should do the same thing with this water.
What's your nose? Where are you getting the water?
I'm getting a hint of
Wet?
deep water.
Does it smell wet?
It smells wet. I wonder if it tastes that way.
Better
See.
deep than shallow.
Yeah.
Because then it could be stagnant.
You know what? That's some damn good water.
Straight from the Samsung filter.
I'm looking for the vanilla, but
I don't taste
I'm not
it.
getting it. Man, what else were they saying?
You know, it's really just like
Honey?
it tastes a lot like a cider, like Angry Orchard.
Yeah. Maybe because you're thinking too much into the
green
pear, green apple.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It is really refreshing though. It'd be great with some. This would be good on the rocks.
Yeah, I could see the grapefruit.
That bitterness.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to live vicariously through us.
I am.
We'll get better at explaining whiskeys one day. I feel like our first episode, Chris did a good job, and ever since then he's just like, yeah.
All downhill
Well,
from there.
Yeah, probably.
He sounded like a sommelier on the first one. He's like, this has been aged for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then they strained it through.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've fallen a little bit. I will say that Suntory and Jim Beam are one company now. So Jim Beam and Suntory are one big whiskey making company.
Well, that's pretty good.
And they actually did a some kind of collaboration with the bourbon and some kind of Japanese influence, some kind. I can't remember exactly what it was, whether it was like a blend of Japanese whiskey and bourbon or like bourbon finished in like Japanese whiskey barrels. It's something like that. I think it's called Legend or I can't remember what it's called. But I mean, I think they still sell it. It might be worth trying out.
We'll have to check it out. So, Michael, did you used to eat gummy snacks when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because we also have a box of vintage Dragon Ball Z fruit snacks from the year 2000, probably, maybe.
Oh wow.
It was
Probably, yes, 99.
it was
2000 probably.
unopened, but in storage somehow the glue came loose.
Yeah.
So we just assumed we might as well try them out on the show.
Yeah, we're gonna
Sure, I'll give it a go.
We're gonna try 25-year-old
They're 25 years old.
gummy snacks.
25 years old. We're breaking open this. This is
Here
probably
goes.
this is probably worth some good money on eBay right here, guys.
Well, there's a sealed box over there.
we still have a sealed box.
Yeah, so we're still good there.
I collected quite a bit of Dragon Ball Z stuff
Oh.
in my day.
All of my stuff got gone. Like I collected all that stuff, like the bootleg VHS tapes from Japan. Remember
I still
those?
have them. Yeah.
They had the best commercials.
Oh yeah, and they used bad language and had blood and guts in it.
I was thinking more about just how ridiculous the commercials were.
Oh, I'm talking about the Dragon Ball Z itself had
Oh, yeah.
cursing and
Yeah, it had blood to it.
it's a little
stuff like
different
that,
than the
yeah.
American
A little
version.
bit.
It's everything that kids needed, I believe.
Really, the best part about those VHS tapes is someone went to Japan with a blank VCR tape. Mm-hmm. It came on TV, and someone hit record, made a bunch of copies, came to the States and sold them.
Yeah, the guy that did that, we
Wow.
knew him.
The guy-
He worked at Cosmic Castle.
No. It was Collection Connection.
Oh, Collection Connection, yeah.
Over on Randleman Road.
Yeah, the tall, skinny guy.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He traveled to Japan like every couple of weeks.
I mean, like, Dragon Ball Z is awesome, but, like, really with those bootleg VHS tapes, the best part were the commercials.
Yeah, and also we were watching Dragon Ball Z years before it came out in America. We were watching Dragon Ball GT.
We were watching
Years
Dragon Ball GT
before
years
people
before
even
it
knew
came
what it
out.
was,
That's
yeah.
true. All thanks to those bootleg tapes.
Yeah, because Dragon Ball Dragon Ball came out in 1984 in Japan.
Yeah, well, I didn't discover it until probably 98, 97.
And that was Dragon Ball Z.
That was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
So I might piss off a little bit of your crowd here, but I don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z either. So not only do I not drink whiskey, I don't know much of anything about Dragon Ball.
you
So
know,
what's
I
the
don't-
difference between Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball
So,
GT.
Dragon Ball is basically
That was the first one.
this guy Goku is the main character.
Okay.
It was when he was a little kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So Dragon Ball was more like lighthearted, and there was more humor to it. Mm-hmm. Dragon Ball Z had more action to it, and GT was just a mistake.
Ah.
Most of GT was a mistake, but I
Okay,
do like some of
okay.
it.
It was a mistake because they were trying to play on the nostalgia of Goku being a little kid, but then they had to make that into something, so they had to come up with, what was the guy's name? Emperor Pilaf. Mm-hmm. He like wished for Goku to be a little kid, but like they didn't do anything because he was still just as strong.
Yeah. You know, GT, everybody was way too strong, in my opinion.
Well, GT like Vegeta becoming Super Saiyan 4, like with Bulma's like gun, whatever. That was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of dumb stuff. But, you know, for the main part, Dragon Ball Z is my go-to. You know, that was always my favorite.
Of course. Yeah.
Hence the, I cannot believe I fucking wore this shirt back in the day.
I can't believe you can still fit into it.
It's way too big. That's what's funny. I was way smaller then, and I was wearing this giant. I had to roll the sleeves up because they come past my elbows.
You know what's funny is about the 90s is pretty much everybody wore oversized clothing
That's
all
true.
the time.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And
all
made,
the time. And that.
made out of this material.
100%.
Well, it was a club shirt, and like
Club shirt.
I had a Vegeta club shirt, and we wore it to a teen club
A teen club.
that used to be on High Point Road.
Yeah, and it got shut down
Yeah, of course.
pretty
it
soon
did.
after we went there with our Dragon Ball Z shirt.
Hold on.
We
is
shut
that,
it down.
Is that because Chris did karaoke?
No,
This is a different
that
place.
was a different
Okay.
place.
Most places we went did shut down soon after, though.
Right.
We shut the
Okay.
place down.
Yeah, literally.
Literally. Salt the earth.
Oh, Lord.
All right, so yeah. Speaking of, before we get into anything else, you think we should stick with the Dragon Ball Z theme and go with the gummy snacks?
Well, yeah, of course.
Let's
So
do
you
it.
already mentioned them.
Yeah, let's throw some around, Chris. These are vintage gummy snacks. Brock's.
It would still be great if
What are
we
you gonna
had-
just open one? Give everybody a package.
Oh, we're gonna eat the whole pack.
go.
I was figuring we start
No,
with one.
everybody will try one.
But these are vintage, like you said.
Look, they've congealed into one single gummy
Yeah, this
snack.
is
That's
one.
perfect.
This is one hard gummy.
Listen to that crisp mic.
That might actually be a little annoying. I don't know what this is gonna sound like, on video, but
All right, let's see what we got here.
This is one I can cheers.
Oh, you got a single one?
Yeah.
maybe it's not as bad as what I thought. Oh no, this is. Yeah, I got a single.
Holy shit.
You having trouble? Oh, there you go.
I think they shrunk.
Smells good.
I have no idea. I never had these.
Actually, you know what it smells like? Nothing.
It doesn't really smell good.
Yeah, there is no smell.
Well, it doesn't smell like old mold, so that's good.
There's a hint of vanilla.
Yeah.
No, I'm just playing.
I got a hint of blackberry.
Is that because it's black?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to
It
be
looks
black?
like a shriveled up
It looks
blackberry.
black.
Is it supposed
No,
to be?
these were like orange and yellow. I
Mine's,
think.
mine's purple.
It's still a little
Oh god,
squishy.
they're all one color.
It's still a little squishy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, all one.
Yeah,
You're
there
right,
used
they
to
were
be-
supposed to be different colors.
Yeah.
This is all one color.
Wow.
Take it. Take it to the toes. Do it.
So these might be a little fermented. I don't know if that's going to hurt you.
It'll be all right.
Should we
It'll
put
be
this,
all right. It don't
put this in
count.
the whiskey?
Yeah. All right, here we go.
All right.
Oh god, it's hard.
A little chewy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A little bit of the
It's
chew.
still,
Got some flavor to it.
yeah.
It does still have flavor.
Yeah.
It's cherry? Mm-hmm. I got cherry.
I think they probably all took on the flavor.
They probably just all kind of
All congealed into one flavor.
So this is like a 25-year-old aged gummy.
You know, it does
Kinda
have
like
a little
whiskey.
depth. It's got a little depth.
Little
to
depth.
the flavor. And I think there's a prize in here too, Chris.
I hope this doesn't make me sick later.
Look at this. We got Krillin when he had hair.
Oh man,
Oh, wow.
from the World Tournament Saga, right?
Yeah, this is Krillin over here, the bald guy. There's like a decoded message on there.
Visit www.dragonballz.com to decode the hidden message.
Oh, you can
still
see. You
works?
don't need the decoder.
Yeah.
So if you send that in, I think you could get something free in the mail. Rules and regulations. Yeah, there's some kind of something going on. Find the decoder game piece. Place your game piece against the designated area. Oh, you got to go to DragonBallZ.com.
Yeah, from the one.
Reveal the hidden message. If you see a winning message, follow the instructions to redeem your prize.
Wow.
Collect all 4 game pieces. Grand prize, win a trip for 2 to Dallas, Texas, and have
man.
your voice on a Dragon Ball Z cartoon.
Wow. I think we might be.
What would you be, like an extra or something?
Past
Or
that
Yamcha.
point.
You could be Yamcha. Because no one cares about Yamcha.
You're probably one of the villagers that are screaming.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. You know, that kind of left like a weird.
Yeah.
I don't have anything about this contest.
Well, yeah.
It's a little later than it used to
You
be.
need to email info.
I think I should.
You should.
Hey, we're entering this contest.
That would be amazing. They would probably send us something, right? Just for having it.
You think? Maybe.
What if all of us emailed them around the same time and we had like different boxes with different codes? And like they're like, who the hell's distributing these gummy snacks?
They should be. You get a cease and desist letter.
Yeah.
What if you win and then they're like legally obligated to make another episode so that you can make a voiceover for it?
What if there was only one winning game piece?
And that was
that
it.
was yeah. It was
That was it.
No one else won.
Yeah.
All because it was that one. Or the
would've
one
been great.
in the unopened box.
And that one, you know, that one's got to stay unopened
Yeah.
because
Because why not?
yeah, why not?
Like, in one of these podcasts we did, we talked about the milk. But this kind of makes me think
I don't.
we should have had the milk.
Yeah, I don't know if we edited.
I edited that out.
It may be in, it may not. We had like a 7-year-old gallon of milk floating around. It moved with us a couple places.
Yeah.
You know, I hid that gallon of milk in the crawl space of the house
Yeah.
when we moved out. So there's a good chance it's still under there.
Wow.
We can only hope.
And it would be 20 years old.
2006? 7?
No.
Yeah.
No, it was before the apartment is when I had the milk.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Say 2004.
Yeah, I was thinking about in the house, 2006, 2007, but you're right.
It was already
was
quite
from-
vintage at that
It
point.
was from 2004.
So any particular reason you held on to milk for 7 years?
There's a good backstory.
Well, I was going to say, it didn't start off as like something that happened,
Right.
like intentionally. It just sort of like.
You say that, but it kind of did. Because that milk was already expired when I brought it to the apartment.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't bring it there to drink it.
I mean, I know I helped you move from that apartment into the apartment that I ended up living with you
Yeah.
in, but
So basically, the only thing that was left over from that apartment when I broke up with a certain someone back then, there was like, she left a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll take this gallon of milk. It's the only thing she left. Because it was expired.
Yeah.
And we took it, I put it in the fridge, and then we kind of forgot about it for months.
Yeah.
And then we saw it in the back of the fridge. It had swelled up.
yeah. And we were afraid that it was going to explode because of how big it got.
So we let a little pressure off.
And then the
You gotta
whole,
do what you gotta do. Yeah, right.
The stench.
the whole apartment
Oh my God.
smelled like
Hours.
death.
We had to
I
leave
could
for hours.
imagine.
Yeah, we got out of there. It was nasty.
Wow.
So then we moved and we put it in, I think, the garage of the new house, and it did not get refrigerated after that point. And then Chris brought some friends home from the Navy. One of them needed gas money. He was completely broke.
So for $20, he took a shot of it.
Oh my God.
He took a shot at this fucking milk. And this dude passed out in my living room, and we all left.
He threw up in the toilet, and then he passed out.
We thought he was dead.
And then we went to TGI Fridays.
Yeah, and left him. We really thought he was... We're like, he's dead. We might as well report it after.
We're done here.
Might as well get a meal before we
Yes.
go to jail. I mean, might as
Yes.
well.
We would
I
probably...
agree.
We probably would have been convicted of some sort of crime.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, salt with milk.
But I'm guessing he woke up. Everything was okay after that.
Yeah,
He
he's still
did
alive.
wake up.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is he had his face painted like a mime,
Yeah.
and where he passed out on a leather couch or chair or something, like his whole face imprint was like left behind on the chair. That was funny.
Wow.
Last time I heard from him, he was in Greenville, South Carolina. He's like a computer programmer or something.
Wow.
I think he owes me money.
Yeah,
No, well.
probably.
You should make him take a shot of the milk and just clear it.
Just clear it out.
You know, we should try to go get that milk.
Show up to the house. Hey, I just I used to live here.
You know, my landlord lives there. The landlord that used to own the house that I rented from now lives in the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, we might could get it.
Hey,
He hasn't changed anything. So I guarantee he's not ever been in that crawl space.
I just want to ask. We left some stuff here years ago.
You know, Danny made...
Recheck, see if it's still there.
Do you remember those curtains Danny made out of a bedsheet?
Vaguely.
They're still hanging in the window.
Honestly, after I moved out, I only went over to the house 6 or 8 times, and Danny was only there like once or twice.
Well, he sewed up some bed sheets into some curtains, and those they hang in the window today.
That's crazy.
So that is alluding to the milk being there, in my opinion.
That's a good chance that the milk's still there.
Yeah.
So we could have like 25-year-old gummy snacks and like 20-year-old milk together.
That milk, there's
Make this a real show.
there's no telling what that milk has turned into. It's some sort of whiskey.
I'm sure it's something.
I don't think that's how you make whiskey.
Hey, something.
It's fermented into something.
Yeah, you could get fucked up on that milk. We also, at one point, we put a slug in the milk. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
We caught this big-ass slug in cruel and unusual punishment for that slug, but he went into the gallon of milk.
Honestly, we probably shouldn't have done that.
No.
We should have left the milk unadulterated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but oh well.
I'm sure the slug enjoyed it.
His slug might still be alive.
Might be.
Might have lived
fed
off
on
of
it.
that. All that's left in the gallon's like a slug.
You've just been eating it, and it's just completely taken over the
Have you,
entire
have
gallon.
you seen your old landlord in a while?
No.
Maybe the slug got him.
It's just the slugs. That's why nothing's changed.
Yeah,
I haven't
exactly.
seen his car move out of the driveway in years.
Someone needs to do a wellness check.
Oh man, that's funny. So, what else we got going on here today, Chris?
I don't know.
Besides Dragon Ball Z?
Well, Michael's on here.
Hey, guys.
We're going to have Michael on to talk about relationships.
Yeah, but you missed that episode.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
We could do it again, though.
Sure.
So now Chris will have some questions, some deep questions for you
I
about your-
can't wait, boy.
Siri, you're good with women, right?
Am I good with women?
You're
Let's
good.
see.
You've had a lot of experience.
Yeah, right?
I've had a lot of experience. I'm on my second divorce. So I think I'm getting there.
I mean, that's experience.
Maybe eventually I'll get there.
That's experience is what that
It is. It is.
Yeah, right.
So you're in the middle of your second divorce. You're
yes, sir.
Not finalized.
No.
Okay.
This is also the second guest in a row that's had 2 divorces. Remember Curtis?
Hey.
Good Lord. Everybody on the show's been divorced at least
Exactly.
once, but probably twice.
except me.
Yeah.
Still got time, Chris.
Mm.
Just kidding, Melanie.
How's that whiskey, fellas?
You know,
You're missing out. Or maybe you're not.
no, you're not really missing out that much.
Dang, it was wild.
It's good, but if I was gonna like sit back and drink some whiskey, this would not be it.
I'm like that with most scotches too. Like I prefer bourbon for
For sure.
sitting back and drinking, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And last, what did we do last week?
Last week we did
A non-bourbon.
it was a non-bourbon.
It was a
It was from that distillery in Winston-Salem.
a local.
Yeah, but it technically wasn't whiskey because it had it was
Sugar and
hops.
hops.
Yeah, it was pretty good though.
It was all right.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Not my favorite.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite. This really isn't
Yeah.
my favorite either. Kind of smells watered down now.
I mean, even when I was drinking, I didn't really drink a lot of whiskey. I didn't drink a lot of bourbon.
You were a beer guy.
I was a beer guy.
Really?
I was a 24-pack per day beer guy.
So light beer.
Light beer generally, yeah. But I mean, I also liked Killian's and Red Oak and some of the
The heavier stuff.
heavier stuff too. I mean, I did like dark beer and Heineken, stuff like that. So,
24 beers a day. I imagine you had a pretty big beer gut at that time.
you know what's funny? No, I
Really?
didn't.
So when I met you, you were like 90 pounds, soaking wet.
Yep.
And then like when you got into the heaviest bit of drinking, you were still skinny except for the belly.
Did I have the
You
belly?
had a little bit of a belly.
Okay. Well, Chris remembers. I guess I don't. But I got really good at drinking. I'll say that. So good, I got a sponsor.
Okay. Nice. All right.
You got a sponsor of drinking.
No, I got a sponsor of you need to get the hell out of this shit.
Did you get a coin too?
No, I didn't get a coin. I didn't go through any of the
Yeah.
Alcoholics
so you're not
Anonymous
legit.
stuff.
So just
No.
cold turkey.
Cold turkey.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,
Was drinking involved when you hit the cow?
No.
you hit a cow?
No. Yeah, so I did hit a cow. Here's
Look
the
at Daniel's face. He's like, what?
Here's the story of the cow. So, it was really late. I think it was actually January 4th. It was my birthday. And my wife at the time noticed that, I think it was Friday, and noticed that the kids hadn't taken the trash down to the road. And so she was really upset. And so she was like, well, we really got to get rid of this trash. And so I was like, I was getting an argument with her. I was like, you know what? Fine. Fuck it. Give me the trash. Took it, put it in the car. I didn't have my wallet. I didn't have my phone. I had nothing. I didn't even have a shirt on. I had my jacket.
How far are you transporting this garbage?
I was on my way to Food Line or the Goodwill over by my house on High Cone. So probably about
Yeah, not far.
10 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe. So I get it all in there, and I'm looking in front of me. I hadn't drank at all, right? So I wasn't drinking.
But it wasn't night.
Yeah, and it was at night. And I think it was probably about 10:30 at night, something like that. I'm driving, and it's really, really dark part of the road. And before I even realize it, there is a cow that's black in the middle of the road walking towards me. So I hit it, stopped from 55 to nothing. Didn't even have my seatbelt on, nothing. The only thing that I remember was getting up off the ground of the road, and there was glass in my hair, in my head. My pinky was broken, and the only thing I see was this guy that was behind me. He's sitting behind me, and in the car that was behind me. So I go over to him, and I'm like, "Hey, you think you could call the police or something?"
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You say you got up off the road.
I got off the road. I don't remember
You went
falling
through the
out of-
windshield?
No, I didn't go through the windshield. So what turns out happened was I had opened the door, passed out, and fell out right there. Because it hit my head, but I didn't realize
Right.
what
You
had
just
happened.
You just kind of instinctively open the door. And
I instinctively opened the door, and then I was just out. So I get up. I really don't know how much time had passed. And like I said, I walked to the guy, and I was like, "Hey, can you call the police or something?" And he was just like, "I kid you not." This man said, "I don't give my phone to strangers." I'm like bleeding off my forehead all the way down my eyes. And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You need to call somebody right now, or I'm going to get in your car and take it and call the police." And he was like, "Okay." Finally, he calls the police. And so the police get out there, and around the same time that the police and the ambulance are all coming over to get me, there's this farmer lady who's coming around, and she's just crying. She looks at me, and she says, "Have you seen my cow?" Now, get this. I'm still bleeding down my face, right? Pinky's broken. It's not been a good night for me. And this lady comes over, asks me, "Have you seen your cow?" And I said, instinctively, "Yes, bitch. It's right there, and right there." In 3 pieces all over the place. Fuck your cow. That's how I felt. So,
Holy cow, that's a crazy story.
yeah.
Holy cow, indeed. So that must have been a pretty big cow.
That's kind of crazy that
All 3 parts of it.
like no one wanted to do anything.
Nobody. Like, literally nobody gave a fuck about me over
Yeah.
on High Cone Road. They were
Like
just
the,
like,
the one guy was like, you're in my way.
"You're in my way."
You're in my
The
way.
guy,
You need to leave.
the guy behind you, I imagine, pulled up after the wreck.
Yeah, well, no, he was.
Was he
I
behind
remember
you
there was
already?
somebody behind me,
Okay.
but like, I don't remember how long he was just sitting there, but he was just sitting there watching all this unfold. Clearly not giving a fuck about anything that happened.
I mean, it could have been you could have been out for just like a second or two.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking happened.
Like
And he could have been drunk.
Possibly.
That guy could have been drunk and been like,
Possibly.
he's like, I'm not calling the cops.
Or
I'm drunk.
he just thought that maybe I was drunk, but I wasn't.
Yeah, either way, if you're bleeding and you hit a cow, like obviously you need to
Do something, right?
911, right?
Yeah, but no, he was just like Not my problem.
And then the lady owned the cow, I'm assuming?
The lady was the one that owned the cow. And turns out that North Carolina is a fenced-in state.
Yeah.
So if you have a cow and it gets out,
It's their fault.
it's their fault. So they ended up settling with me, and I ended up getting a good amount of money for it. And that paid, I mean, really all it did was just pay for my medical bills and all that. But I could tell she was upset. But like, even if I was thinking like, this is my cow and it got out, I would say that's my fault. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
she was not like that. She was just so upset that she lost her cow. Not too worried about me at all.
Who's out at 10:30 at night counting their cows anyway? How does she know?
That's
it was
exactly
missing?
what I was thinking of. Like, how did she know that the cow got out?
Well, it turns out that she had a friend, and it's actually a friend that goes up to that Kennedy's Corner over on the High Cone Road. And she had called her and said that she had saw or heard of a wreck that happened with a cow and made her go check her cows.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Because apparently it wasn't the first time this cow's gotten out. It's gotten out a lot of times.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. I took care of that. You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah. Minister Society. Yeah, because what's interesting about that is around the same time we knew someone else that hit a cow in Virginia.
Chris, yeah.
And Virginia is not a fenced-in state, so his insurance had to pay for it.
Yep.
You know, there was some years back, there was a cow got loose on 52, and a lady stopped to try to get it out of the road, and she got hit by a semi-truck.
Jeez.
So I wonder whose fault that is.
We should get a lawyer on this show.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we
You
need
need cow law.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty tragic. Like, imagine being that truck driver. Like,
Yeah.
he swerved to miss the cow and hits a lady.
Right.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're on 52, which is for those that may not know, is a fairly major highway
yeah.
there. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot
it's
of
a highway.
traffic. I kind of feel like you kind of let it go and maybe call and be like, "Hey, there's a cow loose."
Well, I think the thing was it was in the road,
Yeah.
and there was cars coming, and this lady just assumed somebody's going to die by hitting the cow.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It just seems like you could have done more, like with your car, to try to like push it. I don't know.
You know, actually, I think it was at this. There was like a scenic point on 52 near Pinnacle,
Okay.
and I think she was like parked at the scenic overlook, and she like witnessed the cow getting out. So she wasn't in her car. She didn't like stop her car.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
she was already there.
I obviously don't know the story.
As
so-
somebody who hit a cow, I can tell you that Honda Accord I had didn't do much of moving the cow.
Yeah.
The
But, I
cow
mean,
kind of went through my car.
Yeah, but
it went around.
It's
like
one thing
this.
to hit a car going like 50 or 55, and it's
Yeah.
another thing to kind of like push it along.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The cow destroyed my car, but you know what? The car destroyed the cow, so
Yeah.
it was fair.
Did you get any meat from it?
You know what's funny is that I was gonna talk about that. That's the only thing anybody asked me about hitting a cow
Of course.
ever. Did you get any meat from it? And I was
Yeah.
thinking like, no,
Yeah.
I didn't.
I mean, it messed up your day.
Somebody got some meat from it.
It was my birthday.
Yeah, it messed up your birthday. The least you could do is eat it.
Yeah.
What's left of it?
And what's funny is that my wife at the time was just like, because I called her on that guy's phone, was just like, hey, I just got in a car wreck. And she was like, oh, well, that sucks. Let me know when you get home.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Do you think that was like that was a while before you actually separated, right?
Yeah, that was a long time.
Years.
Yeah, that was years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you have children with the first wife,
The first wife, yes.
not the second.
Not the second wife.
But don't you have quite a few kids?
I've got 3 kids. And the person that I'm with now, she's got 3 kids. So,
So you got a house,
between the two of us, we got
you got a house full of youngins.
house full of youngins. Yeah.
You know what's awesome? And I wish I had waited a little bit longer maybe to buy my house. But you bought your house at the bottom of the market
Yep.
and got a lot of house for like little money.
Yeah, it was a short sale too.
Yeah. I mean, I bought it at the bottom of the market too, like in 2009. But like I didn't get near as much house as you did.
Well, yeah, I got a house for because of the short sale and because of the bottom of the market. I got a house that was $136,000. I put all the money into it trying to get it fixed up. All the little problems that it had. It didn't have a lot. There was one thing that I had that it cost a lot of money, and that was it had no heating and air conditioning. So I had to put all that in, and that was about $20,000. But once I did that, I appraised it like,
I mean, now I'm sure it's crazy.
it's like
now it's,
$420,000 if I sold it right now,
but you'd have to buy another house.
which would be about $420,000,
Yeah, exactly.
unfortunately.
I remember. What's funny is I helped you move into the apartment, and I helped Michael move from his apartment into that house. Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, of course you remember, but I'm going to bring it up, like the towel work that they did in the master bathroom.
Ooh, it was terrible.
It wasn't. It had kind of a pattern,
Yeah.
but then they lost the pattern, so it got off a little bit. Mm-hmm. And there was so much grout, like
I don't know what they were
on top of this, like
Yeah.
going from the bedroom to the bathroom, you had to like step up because of how thick it was.
Yeah, so my second wife, the one that I'm currently divorcing right now, she got so mad about that tile that was all over the walls, all over the bathrooms, that I remember I was at work one day and I had just come home and all of that stuff was like peeled off of the floor, but it wasn't peeled off in like a good way. Like all the wood underneath was destroyed, and then the drywall that was around the tub that had tiles on it too, and she just scraped holes into the wall. So there's literally just currently to this day still holes around the wall of my bathroom.
Jeez. Daniel's in construction, so he's probably like shaking his head.
I mean,
like, what?
usually when we take tile off a drywall in a bathroom, you just cut all the way through the drywall. You take the drywall down to the studs,
Yep.
and you just replace it all. It's not worth salvaging.
Yeah, I need to do that. I just need to find the time to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How long ago was this?
God, 3-4 years ago.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. So how
not
long
too
have you been
bad.
separated?
Since
December?
December of 2022.
Okay.
No, it was October of 2022.
And are you supposed to wait like a year, right? Like you have to wait a year to get a divorce?
In North Carolina, yeah.
And you obviously waited that year to get a girlfriend?
Oh, well, of course, I'm not a monster. No, I didn't. No. I mean, we were both separated. Like, we were both done with each other for sure.
Yeah.
And, like, we both knew it. It was time. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, so you hit up Tinder.
No, I got on Facebook, and that's when I found her and started talking to her. She's a really nice girl. And honestly, like, she wanted to come here, and if y'all want some stories, she's the one for you.
I actually kind of wanted her to come on.
Yeah,
Should have brought her on.
yeah.
I mean,
She's the one. So she's actually spent 4 years in prison.
yeah, so I didn't want to be the one to bring it up. But like, that was the person I wanted to bring in for like the women's prison.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she's gonna get mad at me for talking about that. I don't think so. The way that she talks about it is that time that she had in prison was the best thing that ever happened to her. It wasn't a good thing that happened, but she says that it's the best thing because she's absolutely the nicest person in the world. I mean, she really is. She didn't used to be.
Are we
when she
allowed
was
to say
younger.
why she went to prison?
I'll let her tell you that if she ever gets on.
It's kind of complicated.
It's very
it seems
complicated
like.
because there's a lot of stories that like kind of derived into this, and I'll let her talk about that if she gets a chance to get on here.
Yeah, we can't not have her on now.
Well,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
And we know somebody else that's
Yeah, but she hasn't responded to me yet. Like, I texted her and she was like, "Oh, you have a podcast and you record? LOL, ha ha ha." And then I'm like, "You're good?" Because we're talking about having her on next Monday,
Yeah.
but she hasn't responded yet. So, yeah. I don't know.
oh well. So what else we got?
This is what Michael was worried about.
I was like, I don't know how long we're going to be able to talk and hold it.
Well, the good
The thing is, we never script.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing, right?
yeah,
Well, sometimes, like with Curtis, we had a 3-hour podcast.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. We got him to sing and everything. Yeah,
Wow.
it's gonna be great.
You
That's
know,
awesome.
He met his girlfriend on Facebook also.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, I met Melanie on MySpace.
On MySpace? I thought you went to high school with Melanie.
Holy
did.
cow. Well, you
But I didn't
re-met.
really talk to her until MySpace.
Re-met on MySpace.
Yeah, that's right.
I met my first wife on MySpace.
Hey, there we
Yeah.
go. All right. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's another 30 minutes of content. Tom is talking about your first wife,
Yeah.
Kayla.
Yeah.
Are you
All right.
allowed to talk about her?
So here, Michael knows the story I'm going to bring up.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So my
I know what story you're going to say, too.
my impression, what I remember about Kayla is you said that she had a dream
Yeah.
where she made like some kind of steak, like food with like stuff in it, like vegetables or whatever, and it was rolled up. It's like a steak roll up, right? Mm-hmm. And so when she woke up, she wanted to make that. So this sounds
Make
like
it a reality.
yeah,
Why not,
sounds
right?
like a good idea.
Uh-huh.
So she put the steak on the pan and heated it up, and I guess put the broccoli or whatever on it.
Yeah.
And so she took her hand and started rolling the steak with her hand.
Burnt the fuck out of her hand.
To cook it at the same time.
And that should tell you a little bit about my first wife.
So she's rolling broccoli up in a steak.
Up in a steak. Right.
So not even like spinach or something that would go well with like
Or not like a steakum.
a steak roll up
Like
or
a
something.
steakum, you could maybe
Yeah.
roll it a little bit. Or even like toothpicks to kind of hold it.
That's kind of hard to believe. I'm finding it hard to believe.
We'll take it like this. We were both 19, 20 years old at the time of that. So
Drinking?
Huh?
Were you drinking at the time?
heavily. Heavily.
Okay, I can see it.
Oh yeah. 100%. Drinking, smoking, all of it. We were doing all of it.
Well, turning a dream into reality takes a lot of guts.
It does. It does. It took a lot of guts.
Then, like, when she moved out, she, stole her dad's car? Like, went on a joyride to Minnesota?
Stole her dad's car, went on a joyride to Minnesota. This was the guy that I found in my bed, right? So she went with him, left me with the kids. She currently has nothing to do with the kids
Oh, really?
at all. Yeah, doesn't have anything to do with them. Last that I saw her was maybe October of last year, and she had track marks up and down her arms. So, yeah, she's not really ever been good for the kids. But like I said, I would never try to keep her from seeing them ever because that's their mother. And that's just how I was raised, that's their mother. You want to see them, but
but at the same time, you don't know what kind of influence.
Exactly.
She and you said she's like hearing voices and stuff.
she's got schizophrenia.
Yeah, so
And it's all heroin induced, all of it.
you don't know what that's gonna be like to have kids around. Like you want to be supervising her when she's around, right?
So if you're ever asking me for advice on what type of woman to choose, I'm not the guy.
Because I suspect that the second one is probably doing something.
Yeah, we kind of have this suspicion that she might be doing something. I went to the courthouse, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if she's going to see this, probably not. But
There's a good chance that she will not.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But honestly, she looked like a bunch of skin, like over dead bone. And then she got the meth mouth. I don't know if you know what that is. Where are you doing like this?
Yeah, I didn't see that, but
Yeah.
I know where she works at, and so I see her somewhat frequently. It feels like,
Yeah.
and she's like sunken in, and like she's a lot skinnier than she was when the last time I saw her, which was
Right.
before we went to Detroit.
Yep. And then she was, I guess you could say she had like healthy looking skin. I don't know if she really doesn't right now.
Yeah, no. In fact, my wife even brought it up. It's like,
Yeah.
she owns something.
Yeah.
And that's when I texted you.
Yeah. All right. And what did I tell you? I don't even remember.
Put me on speaker.
Put me on speaker.
Oh yeah, cause Melanie made the comment. And you're like,
Yeah.
what'd she say? I'm like, put me on speaker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, she's probably like right around the corner. I'm not gonna be too loud. I don't want her to hear. I think she's on something.
Yeah. It's just why I wouldn't have any problem saying anything.
Yeah. So after the first wife is when we all hung out.
Yeah, that's right. So after my first wife, after Kayla, I remember distinctively going out with, it was you, it was Daniel, Nate,
Cody.
in Cody,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's when we went to Breakers.
Breakers.
Yep.
We went to Breakers, but then we went to a couple other places. We met Judy with the booty,
Oh yeah, yeah. That
that
was
old lady,
that was at Longshanks.
Longshanks.
It was like Judy and then like Big Red.
Big Red.
That guy
That's
with the
right.
hair.
I remember Big Red.
Like Daniel's like I don't.
Daniel
I
has
don't-
no
yeah,
idea.
no idea.
Do
what's
you
going on.
remember Daniel literally getting in fights for my amusement? You don't remember that because I remember all
Yeah,
of that.
we're like walking down the sidewalk,
And then like
Daniel's,
running
like,
into people. I was like,
walking into
Daniel, I
people
want to
on
see
purpose.
somebody fight. And you just rammed into people. It was amazing.
You know, now that you're bringing it up, I do remember going to Longshanks.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we were sitting at like a high top. There wasn't a lot of people there.
We were sitting at the bar.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I think we might have played a game of pool there, but we were sitting at the bar when the Judy with the booty
Yeah.
person, which she was like, I don't know, 60 something.
60 something,
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly on something.
The type of woman that puts egg in her hair,
Right.
make it all like Afro.
I've done that before.
Yeah, did you?
She looks like she had just gotten a divorce from me.
Okay, I can picture her now.
Oh yeah, perfect. Crystal image.
Perfect.
I do vaguely remember running into people on the sidewalk. I don't think it ever turned into a fight.
It
though.
didn't turn into a
No,
fight.
it never did.
But you were trying
People,
very hard.
People kept apologizing.
Yeah, we were all
Which is-
we were all dumbfounded because like Daniel's running into people with all of his body weight, and this big buff black dude turns to him and says, "My bad, dude." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And you know
God.
what's funny is we were just talking about how shitty people are
Yeah, right.
with the cow thing. And like these guys on the sidewalk were like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Oh yeah, perfect. Good.
bad.
Yeah.
So they weren't bad.
They weren't bad. It's because they were drunk.
Yeah, probably.
That's what you need to be, I guess.
Everyone's kind of stumbling around, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it's called Stumble Stillskins.
Oh yeah, yeah. Remember we tried to do the Brotherhood of Bourbon?
Oh, yeah. We did do that.
Yeah, we were pretty close. It's the most expensive way to get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like you go and you drink, like you have their card at Stumble Stillskins, and for every you had to drink like all the different types of Jim Beam, and like they'd mark it on the card, and when you filled out the whole card, you got a T-shirt.
I do remember that.
Yeah. We got pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We never
did.
made it.
We never made it.
In my heyday, I think I could have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I could have.
We probably could have. It's just that we were going every Saturday. And I think by the time we got to go again, they stopped doing it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And they only allowed you to do a certain amount each time.
Yeah, you couldn't
Like,
do it at the same time.
You can only do 2 at a time or something. And
Yeah,
there was
something
12
like
of them or something.
It was a bunch of them.
It was a scam, I think. I think they ended
Probably.
it before anybody. They're like, we'll do this for 6 weeks, but it will take 7 to get
Yeah.
a T-shirt.
Oh yeah, they want to keep that T-shirt money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna try a little bit more of this.
Yeah, go for it.
You know what would be awesome is this Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22. It'd be great if we had a PlayStation and we could actually play it.
You know what sucks is I had my PlayStation, my original PlayStation,
Yep.
for ever. And then I gave it to somebody. And then the very next week I found out that they were selling for like $300-400 for those original PlayStations.
All that stuff that it's kind of I'll put this over here.
Yeah, keep it on camera,
Yeah,
man.
alright.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
I'm gonna show off this
All that
PlayStation
stuff.
game.
I
This
think-
is a Japanese PlayStation game, by the way.
Yeah, so you couldn't play it on an American console unless you like trick the console. So like there was a device called a Dragon Hacker, and it came with like a spring. So you'd have to load an American game in first. When it got to the load screen, open the lid.
But the spring
Swap-
would make it think it was still shut.
Exactly. Swap the game out, and then it would play.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We used to have to go through some stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. We can get a PlayStation and play it though. It was a real shitty game. If I remember correctly.
I think it was the best game of the PlayStation.
Yeah,
era,
of the
though.
era.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But nowadays if we were
I
playing
mean, it's a fighting game is what it is.
yeah.
Do y'all remember the Game Shark?
Of course.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I remember doing that.
Yeah, cheater.
Absolutely.
Game Shark, it was similar to the Dragon Hacker. It was like a same type device.
The Dragon Hacker was, yeah, exactly. It kind of functioned the same way, I guess. Mm-hmm. But I was going to say, like, all that stuff that, PlayStation 2, Sega Saturn, original Game Boy, all that stuff's worth a lot of money now, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like I went to what's that place on Spring Garden Street? They sell like old games and stuff.
On Spring Garden?
Yeah.
I know they got Edward McKay's, but that's not on Spring.
No, it's not Edward McKay's. There's a game store over there. They had a Sega Saturn for like $400.
Wow.
Crazy. Like no one bought a Sega Saturn. Like those were trash.
Duncan used to be obsessed. No, it was a Dreamcast.
Dreamcast was good, but like
Because you could go. That was the first one you could go online with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantasy Star Online was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got so Chelsea, my girlfriend, she's got a son who has autism, and he's kind of basically like my stepson, right? And he has autism, and he's about the sweetest guy in the world. I mean, he really is incredibly smart. He's basically like a genius. Like he'll solve a Rubik's Cube with like his eyes closed, or like I can't even explain it. He came up to me and he said for his birthday he wanted a Nintendo 64. And I was like, you know what?
That would be awesome.
I'm gonna make that happen.
Yeah.
So I went to Edward McKay's, and yeah, they're like $250,
Wow.
Yeah.
and I got it for him. So
Yeah, and like how long ago was it that you could have gone to a yard sale and got one for like $20?
yeah,
20.
it really
$5.
wasn't. It really was not that much, just not that long ago.
So
So,
all that stuff.
I guess
just,
it's
like,
all just-
shot up.
and you know what's funny is I got him a game, and you could tell by looking at it. He said, "Aftermarket."
So it was like
He knew immediately.
it was like a bootleg.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was made by a separate company where they put it on
Really,
there.
really, you need him to go to school with your son to trade Pokemon cards.
Yes,
So then he could spot the fakes. You know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So the story is my son got really into trading Pokemon cards. And I guess, I don't know why he thought this was a really good trade. He had this like bulb, I think what was it? It was
You said it. You said what you told me is he traded a Charizard for some energy.
it wasn't a Charizard. It was what's the third one for Squirtle? Blastoise.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Blastoise. He had it was like a 2003 Blastoise. Like it was made in 2003. It was like
Yeah, it was
a
old.
really older one, and it was holographic, and it was really rare. Traded it to this kid for 40 energy cards, and I was like, "Son, what are you doing?"
One card for 40.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
a good
exactly
deal.
what he said to me. I was like, "Okay." I mean, I guess I get it, but he ended up getting it back, so I'm not sure how he did.
He doesn't even play the game.
No, he never played the game.
He just collects the cards.
Just the
So
cards.
There's no reason to have the energy cards.
He was just influenced by this kid who was like, "This is 40 cards for one," and he was like, "Okay,
Deal.
that's not. Yeah, I see it.
Coming out on top here.
Let's do it."
Yeah, if Dragon Ball Z cards were ever worth as much as Pokemon cards, I would probably be a millionaire.
They quit making that trading card game a long time ago. Those cards are probably worth a lot of money.
I don't know. I never hear anything about it. Pokemon's all
Probably
the
because
thing I
it
hear
wasn't as popular.
about. I don't
But
know.
I mean, everyone likes Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
So I mean,
it's coming back now.
they probably
too.
just don't. They probably just don't know.
Is
about
it?
It is coming back. I've
mean-
been seeing a lot of Dragon Ball Z stuff lately.
I mean, remember when we used to go to Cosmic Castle and play the card game?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. We
in
got
the
left there.
tournaments? Yeah. we
You know
got
what's-
left there?
What's funny is that if you had Chelsea on here, she'd probably talk to you guys for hours about Dragon Ball Z because I don't know anything about it, but she does. She used to watch it.
Where's she at?
She's at home. She's at home with the 5-year-old. So
Well, y'all need to trade.
we need to get someone to watch the 5-year-olds so she could come.
Yeah, next time
Yeah, right.
we'll have both y'all and we'll do a Dragon Ball Z show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we used to. We did enter tournaments. We played the card game. One time, I came very close to winning that tournament.
Wow.
And some kid cheated on me. Some little nerdy 12-year-old kid, or probably 8-year-old kid.
With 40 energy cards.
Oh man.
That's the way. That's the way it always is. Remember when Initial D was a big thing at the arcade in Four Seasons?
Yeah.
Then like everyone would like crowd around the Initial D game.
Yeah.
But you could save your progress on these cards. And it was always the 8-year-old Asian kid that was like kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah.
Like we were driving at the time.
Yeah.
Like we were 16 and getting our asses handed to us by this 8-year-old Asian kid.
Yeah. I mean, they just beat everything, man.
Right.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
It was a good game.
But you know, I can't be too hard on my son for the Blastoise thing because when I was younger, I had a Charizard holographic, and one of my friends ended up like convincing me. He said, "I've got 5 uncommon cards,"
Like father, like son.
and I was like,
Hell yeah.
5 for the price of 1?
See,
I mean,
was
that's
that
basic
kid.
math.
I was that kid.
Yeah.
I was the one fucking people over. Like,
Yeah.
I got 17 whatever. Give me this. That's how I got like those ultra rare Dragon Ball Z
Yeah.
cards.
Well, remember that kid that used to steal money from his grandpa and buy the Dragon Ball Z, like the whole
I don't remember the
whole-
He would buy a whole box.
the whole box.
Yeah. I think I vaguely remember that.
Jesse? Jesse, yeah. I think that was his name. I don't know.
There was a couple times I bought a whole box.
Yeah, I know. And that I'm sitting here like, hey, Mom, Dad, I want a box of Dragon Ball Z cards. Oh, it's $100 and some odd.
Yeah.
No, we're not spending $100 and some odd on that.
Not a box of
Yeah.
cards.
What are you talking about?
And I still have every single. Thousands. I've got every kind of card from every country.
See, you had more stuff than I did, but I had a lot of stuff. But all of that's gone. I don't know.
Where did it go?
Probably trash.
I've kept all my Dragon Ball Z stuff in these same 3 totes
Yeah.
for the last 25 years, and I just drag them along with me. So that's how I've hung on to
I'm
it.
sure you can see it on the camera, but like all the action figures and stuff, I remember like in the trailer you had them on your wall and stuff.
Yeah.
And you also had like a Britney Spears poster. When I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
She was standing next to an old, like, 67 Chevy truck.
that what it
She
was?
was wearing a wife beater.
Yeah, something like that.
That was the best poster of Britney.
I mean, I don't know what that is, but I know what it looks like.
It's a Z sword.
That
Is it a Z sword?
Yeah.
That's a Z sword, and you open and close it to keep score.
Well, that's your power level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little window on the other side there.
There was actually a lot to that game.
0?
Yeah, there was.
Because she had like the character cards.
I don't think we ever really truly knew how to play that game. I don't even think we played right in the tournaments.
I mean, maybe not, but like you had like the character card, and then you kept track of the power level, and then you had other cards that would do like different attacks or moves or whatever, from what I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, you had the what was the thing they wore on their eye?
Scouter
The scouter. You had the
Yeah.
little scouter that you put
Yeah.
on the card.
to indicate the power level.
Yeah.
Yep.
We really didn't play
Michael's
that
like,
much.
I don't know.
We didn't play it that much. I really just collected stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't get those cards to really play the game.
And that's the other thing. Everything that I had, I like took out of the box.
Yeah, everything I got still in the box.
Yeah, I took out of the box and like displayed them.
But
like,
most of it's destroyed
Yeah.
from being in there for so long and moving it so many times. Like there's
Yeah.
boxes that aren't open, but they're like crushed.
the old shirts.
Do you think they still have value?
I don't know. Maybe.
They probably have some
I mean,
value.
some of
Get
these
it appraised or
some
something?
of these like action figures, I've looked these up before and they're like 150, 200 bucks.
Holy cow.
But I don't have a ton of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And there's one over there. You see that guy standing up with the orange hair? Mm-hmm. That thing is so rare that it's almost impossible to find, and it's worth probably like $1,000.
There was like
It sings a song.
yeah. There's
a little a
Dragon
ring,
Ball.
a Dragon Ball ring that you wear, and when you put it near him, he sings a song in Italian. It's an Italian.
Italian?
It's an Italian Dragon Ball Z. That's why it's so rare.
yeah, right.
I bought that
pretty
at
neat.
Cosmic Castle, right? Or the other
Collection
one.
Connection?
Collection Connection.
Yeah, you
Collection
still got
Connection
the
was the
price
was
tag
the-
on it.
Bought it for 20
That's
bucks.
pretty cool.
Yep. And that was a lot of money back then for an opened one.
Yeah.
Do you know how much millennials value nostalgia? Like everything is centered like
Easily.
between
Easily more than sex.
remakes of movies
Oh, yeah.
and stuff like that. Like this nostalgia sells.
It sure does.
I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg is probably like, oh, I remember watching Dragon Ball Z when I was 13, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that action figure right there, and he'll probably give you $1 million for it.
I doubt it. But I don't know. Maybe let's reach out to him.
Yeah, hey, Mark,
Yeah.
we've got this.
He probably has everyone that he could ever want if he does.
Yeah, probably. But you never know. I mean, how rare?
That
is
one is very rare.
it? Yeah.
It's extremely rare.
Maybe he'll pay like $100,000 for these fruit snacks.
Yeah.
Too
Maybe.
bad we ate tomorrow.
Well, you got the box.
Yeah, we
You
can sit
got
with, we've got an unopened box of Dragon Ball Z fruit snacks. If anybody watching wants to put a bid in, just put it in the comments. We'll start the bidding at $200.
Started at 200.
$200 for 25-year-old fruit snacks.
Yeah.
Speaking of Zuckerberg, I heard he's like selling off stock and stuff. Like
A lot
something crazy is
of-
about to happen.
of. A lot
He's
of
investing a lot of money in that bunker.
I heard about the bunker, and a lot of. He's not the only one that sold off a bunch of stock too.
Quite a few people have done
Yeah,
it.
right.
Bezos also.
Yep.
So I don't know how true this is, but I heard that the government is getting ready to crack heavy on like gig work.
I'm sure they are because they want their money, right?
Right.
I mean, there's
Like
only
DoorDash, Uber Eats, all that stuff. is
only
just
only
out
two
the door.
things in life are an absolute, and it's death and taxes, right?
Yeah.
I thought we said it was tires and taxes.
That's what I said.
No, death and tires.
Yeah,
Death and tires.
Because you don't have to pay taxes.
but you need tires.
I get away with not paying taxes.
Uh-oh.
If the government's one of our
Yeah.
12 viewers,
I'm sure they're gonna crack down on it, because there was that thing with the $600, like $600 now the threshold you have to like claim, and the IRS is gonna bust your door down if you don't pay. Only
it's always been $600.
Has it always been?
Yeah, it's always
Has
been.
it?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, there's a new thing now though. If you have a company, you have to file a report. You have to file an annual report every year, and if you miss that report, you get audited immediately, and it's really fucking retarded because there's so many people that own businesses that don't really operate the businesses; they just own them.
Yeah.
And if they forget to file the report, they
Right.
get an audit. That started this year, actually. I have to do that.
Jeez.
So I've got like 4 businesses I have to do that for.
Yeah.
And I don't really use but one of them. So it sucks.
Jeez. Yeah. I mean, yeah. At some point, they're gonna figure out a way to tax it all, right, or regulate it in some way.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that? You think about it, like, how much taxes were Americans paying, like, when we left the Great
Well, the government's a
Britain,
lot bigger
right?
too.
I mean,
right?
it's huge, but I mean, wasn't it just taxation without representation? I mean, I'm
that
pretty sure
was-
everybody in here doesn't know what their taxes are being represented.
No, it's all garbage. All tax. 90%, 99% of taxes are garbage.
Yeah.
They're all
Like
like
the
when we s-
thing about it is you know, they'll tax us to try to pull some of the money back, but that's a drop of water in the ocean compared to how much money we create through the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
I mean, all the money that we're spending now is money that is being created through debt. And taxes are just a way of trying to recoup a small piece of that debt.
Yeah, that's why I never understood, like, if they're printing money, why don't they just print enough money to cover our taxes?
I think the
dumb.
money they print is fake money, but the taxes they collect is like the real money. They're pulling in like real value from people.
I don't
See,
know.
yeah, so the problem is that with modern monetary theory, Keynesian, right? Like
Yeah.
Keynesian economic theory, broken windows theory, right? Is like when you break a window, you create economic incentive because you're going to have to repair the window, right? So if you break enough windows, then you're going to generate economic growth, right? Like if you print enough money, you just throw it out there, then you're going to generate some kind of like, you're going to generate the economy, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, like you print so much money, like where does that money go? It's got to go somewhere.
Right.
And for a long time, it's gone into like stock market, record highs and stuff like that. It's gone overseas, Ukraine, various financial aid packets, Israel, India. India has a space agency. Why do they need government assistance, right?
Right.
That's how our government launders money.
Well, what it is they give the money out to be able to give them in other countries an incentive to use it. Because the more that they use it, the more that money stays
More
over
the
there.
dollar.
If they stop using
Yeah.
it, then all that money comes back, and that drives inflation up like crazy. Because all
Isn't that
that
just
money
a-
doesn't have anywhere else to go.
Isn't there just a big push to make sure that the rest of the world is still using the dollar itself?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, so
I mean, there's some conspiracy theories like, like in 2000 or 2001, there was an article where Saddam Hussein was supposedly going to start pricing oil and gold. Mm-hmm. And then in 2003, we invade. Yep, he's done.
Gaddafi?
After that, Muammar Gaddafi. Hey, we're going to start pricing oil in euros, right?
Right.
2011,
Yep.
done. Russia's like, oh, we're going to do BRICS. And we're going to, de-dollarize, and we're going to kind of like do our own things with like a BRICS dollar or whatever they were talking about.
Yeah.
And now we're like sending money to Ukraine. to
Ukraine
fight
so
the
that they could fight them. Right.
Russians. Yeah.
Right. That's pretty wild. And I kind of agree with that. I'm almost like, why are we sending all this money to Ukraine? when we've got people that are struggling here.
Yeah,
crazy.
It's insidious, but it's like they have to.
But they're not spending that money.
No. Like that
money's going other places.
It's just
going right through there and right back out
it's
of there.
going into people's pockets or whatever. But the thing is, we have to give the money out, because if we don't, then where does that money go? Does it come back and start chasing like the same amount of goods with more money in it and create more inflation? It's kind of
I just don't agree with printing money to get rid of it.
I don't either.
All
to be
that
honest
does
with
is
you.
create inflation.
It's making more problems.
I mean, the thing that needs to happen is we need to cut back and start living within our means and try to like get off of this money printing.
Yeah.
Because right now we're living way beyond what we can afford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was doing it when I was a teenager, buying all this Dragonball Z shit.
Exactly.
$20.
I
Look
mean,
at that.
some people
That was a lot of money.
That sure
back then.
was.
Some
Damn
people
right.
will argue that there's a difference between macroeconomics and like micro, like in your house. Like there's a difference, and in some way, like the velocity of money is a little different, right? But at the end of the day, you should only live within your means and spend what you can afford.
I mean, but how soon do you think we would ever come to? Because, AI is right there, right? How soon do you think we would be to what a lot of people have been calling a universal basic income? Do you think that that's close?
Yeah, it is.
It
is.
think that
It's closer than you think it is.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because, at some point, there's going to be no other option but to get rid of half the jobs that are out there. There will be no reason to keep them.
Right.
And those people will have to have a basic income, or we'll have a civil war. It'll be
See,
one of two things.
I think Civil War is right around the corner.
There's a movie coming out now, Civil War.
yeah,
Have you seen it?
I've heard of that.
I think Civil War is right around the corner.
The thing about that though is anytime there's a new technology that comes out, there's always a fear that it's gonna destroy your job or you're gonna get replaced, right? But then people always find other things to do.
Yeah.
That's true to a certain degree, but AI is a different beast.
Yeah,
It's a totally different beast. It's smarter than us.
I just think that we don't know.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, like
Oh,
we
yeah.
can.
Well,
We'll
we
never
don't know, but you can make estimations. Like, why do you think that, there's going to be a universal basic income soon?
I just
with
think
AI?
they're going to have to do it to prevent civil war. That's why I think, because if half the people lose their job and have no income,
Yeah.
what are they going to do? They're going to
Riot.
They're going to riot. They're going to rob people, kill people. I mean, I think that will be the start of the civil war unless they do the basic income. And the basic income is going to be almost nothing. It's going to be just enough for people to barely survive.
I mean, but crimes already increased literally just from this administration that we're in
Well,
right now.
you know what's? Did you hear about Pittsburgh? In Pittsburgh, they've decided to reduce the number of police officers they have. So if you call for if your burglary alarm goes off, or there's a theft, there's a couple other things. 911 won't respond in certain times.
Wow.
So like if someone breaks into your house at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's no one coming to help you. There's no police officers coming. This is what I got from the news article.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's because of, they say it's because of the problem they have with recruitment in police officers.
I can see that.
So there's not enough people. Yeah, I could see it too. But it just feels like with everything going on is that there's a conspiracy behind it to just make things shitty, right? We want people to live in fear and create chaos and stuff like that.
We know the more poverty there is and the more chaos there is, the least likely it is to have a civil war, because there's nobody gets together and there's no structure, because everybody's in fear of starving to death. Like, you don't have enough time to make a plan.
Yeah,
or build a militia or something.
Every time there are people that group together and do something that is, say, against the mainstream narrative, then something happens to break that apart. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is during Occupy Wall Street. So you had two groups. You had Occupy Wall Street and you had the Tea Party. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, there were two groups that were talking about the same thing in different ways. So the Tea Party was mad because the government was incentivizing corporations to give money to people for houses that they couldn't afford and create the housing bubble, right?
Right.
the Occupy Wall Street people were blaming the banks. You know, we're bailing you out. We're giving you this money. This is bullshit.
But they were both, saying the same thing.
They were complaining about the same problem, but from a different angle.
Right.
And, like, in Occupy Wall Street, like, people came together over this issue. But then, during that's when you started seeing the critical race theory stuff. And some of the things that we've seen now, that started, like, during the Occupy Wall Street. So it makes it seem like the country was coming together for this purpose. Like, oh, the 1%'s, like, screwing us kind of thing. But then something came in to kind of break it apart and divide people so that we're more easily manipulated.
It makes sense. Yeah. I mean, like, if you think about it, like, when people were coming together to create this, like, basically the start of what could be a civil war, something comes and says, all right, critical race theory, or we've got this, you know.
They got a playbook.
We
When
got
one of
to
these
open up
things
everybody.
happens,
We
they're
got to
like-
make these guys enemies again.
Oh yeah.
I mean-
that's like that's race all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the perfect thing to divide people.
Yeah.
Right.
When people should kind of view the
come
government
together.
as the bad guys.
I mean, they are. Think about it. They really are.
Yeah.
They're not the good guys.
And I mean, the thing with, you know, having some shady hand that would implement something like that, you kind of saw that during, the 97 Seattle World Trade Organization riots.
Right.
So you had this super lefty group, right, that was protesting against the World Trade Organization, big business, right? Like typical left now is now for big business apparently.
Right.
But back then they were against it, right?
Yeah.
And
Think Rage Against the Machine.
yeah, rage on behalf of the machine.
Yeah.
But you had government actors actually go in and start throwing bricks through windows
I remember that.
in order to, okay, now this protest has turned violent. Send the cops in,
Yeah.
take them out, right? So I mean,
wild.
this kind of stuff's already happened.
Oh yeah. It goes way deeper than we could ever know.
I mean, I can imagine. Like, it's anything that is going to keep us divided long enough so that they could tax the fuck out of us. I think they're going to.
Yeah, and it's not even taxes now because our country is such like a materialistic country. You spend every dollar, you live paycheck to paycheck because you buy goods.
Yeah.
Not just because you're buying food. Like people are out buying Nikes and hoodies and
Yeah.
the clothes and a nice, like you just want to have all the stuff. But really we don't need all the stuff, but they're pushing you to buy all of that stuff.
Yeah,
Because
and-
all that money eventually makes it to the top.
Yeah.
I mean, I consider myself fairly right-leaning and definitely not like communist or anything, but I can understand the argument for capitalism going too far because of things like that are made to break. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you buy a TV or washing machine now or anything like that, they're not made to last. They're made to,
They have a failure rate.
yeah, they have a failure rate
Yeah.
and throw it away, buy another one, you know, because it's better to turn that money around than it is to keep something working for a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the major problem in this country is that all the stuff that's not made to fail, everything else, there's psychological pushes
Yeah.
for you to you don't even know you want it. All of a sudden you need
this-
it or you
this
want
thing's
it.
Now
5 years
suddenly you
old,
need
know?
it.
Yeah, out of nowhere. And it's everything. And it's
Yeah.
so expensive.
I always feel like I was kind of like immune to that a little bit because I've never really cared what I wear. Never really cared what I wear. Like maybe I'll get the new Xbox, but I mean that's purely selfish. Like I want to play the games,
Yeah.
right? But like if it comes to like how other people feel about me, I could give a fuck. Like for real.
Yeah, I mean, that's mostly where I'm at. Like, I'll buy stuff because I want to buy it.
Right.
I don't think I feel any outside pressure
No.
for this. I don't know. Maybe I do to
Yeah,
an extent.
that's the good psychology that
Yeah.
they got going for them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't think I'd buy it because I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe.
You think they're playing all of us?
Oh, they're playing all of it.
Because, I mean, the last big purchase I did, well, over several purchases, was the computer I built.
Yeah.
And, like, I spent $1,400 building it. And, like, maybe it was because I watched all these YouTube videos on people building computers. And I was like,
I can do that.
yeah, I could do that.
I wanna do that.
Yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, I could do
But
that.
so, and then like, how often did you like use that computer to like play games and?
I use it actually a lot.
Okay. I mean, so it's not. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
but that game itself, should you even be on the computer playing that game?
no.
It's a really good game.
Well, no, we should be out there hunting deer, making food, getting
Yeah.
stuff.
No,
Yeah.
Murdering cows.
I built it for
Murdering cows with cars.
I built it for Starfield,
Right. We built it for Starfield.
but Starfield turned out to be a lukewarm. Like, not it's okay, but
I think it's funny. It was showing like the budget for Starfield and like how much it raked in, and then it was showing the budget for Pal World,
yeah. Oh yeah,
and it's like it's so funny. Like, why?
man. Some of these indie studios are like, when it comes to per dollar, like, are killing these AAA
Yeah,
studios.
but just destroying them.
So
I think
this
it's a
was-
good thing.
But it's not as polished either. Like,
That's probably the last video game I ever bought.
wow.
Is that
The
right?
PlayStation 1 was the last gaming system I owned.
The
Do you
last
just not play video games?
I don't even own a TV.
Funny enough is that I don't really play video games either. I play games on my phone, but that's about it.
yeah.
I don't play games on my phone either.
My kids,
Yeah,
I'll
when
go
you
ahead
got
and tell
kids,
you,
I think it's different.
flat out addicted to video games. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah.
I bought all of the Command and Conquers over the weekend because it was on sale for $10.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, yep. Real time strategy. Yep.
I remember that game,
Yeah,
but
great.
there's not much I remember about it.
Yeah. Real Alert 2 was really good. And the weekend before, I bought Civilization 6 because it was on sale. See, I play a lot of games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But what could you be doing?
Podcasting.
Podcast.
100%. And that's one thing I've noticed about you. You've been doing a lot of podcasting.
That is true. Normally, I'm on this 2-month thing.
That's what we were just talking about earlier.
What's
So
a 2-month thing?
let me explain.
Yeah,
So
let him explain from the outsider.
from an outsider looking in at Chris, right? What I see is about every 2 months he gets a new hobby and he devotes everything to it, and then it dies entirely. And then another 2 months go, and he devotes so much to, like, what, woodworking? You're like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna be a
woodworking was a thing
woodworking.
for a
Are
little
you
bit.
kidding me?
Yeah.
No,
How good did you get at it?
not very good.
No.
Yeah, I don't have the space for a lot of stuff. I don't know.
And then like building a computer, I thought that one was gonna stick, right?
It is thick. I built it.
I mean, you built
Yeah.
it, but I thought you were gonna be like, all right, now I'm gonna go build another one, and then build another one.
No, that's
So this podcast
Money.
is just
Yeah,
a
money,
2-month
yeah.
hobby for you?
No,
Do I need to be
no.
looking for a new co-host?
no. I bought the
Everybody
mixer.
watching, there's a positioning opening up in 3 weeks for a...
3 weeks.
I bought the mixer. I got the microphone. We're good now.
Yeah, but you bought you bought the computer and built it.
I still play the computer.
Okay.
Yeah, the computer's still.
he got the
playing.
computer.
Yeah, right.
We got a fancy... It's not on camera. I can't see it.
What's
Don't
in-
touch it.
What's
Oh,
another
yeah, push
one?
button.
Oh, there you go.
Chris he got it.
So, what's another hobby that you were like 2 months and done?
Whiskey.
Whiskey was a
whiskey.
huge one. I remember that one.
Whiskey was a big thing. for a
Talked
while.
about it all the time at work, and then it was just like, why did you stop talking about whiskey? And you were like, well,
Yeah, just kind of get tired. Mm-hmm. Camping was kind of the big
Camping?
thing for a while.
I
yeah.
remember that
I mean,
one.
we still go camping, but it's not like it was when we.
yeah, you were getting
First
like
started.
all the state of the art shit. And you were gonna.
Yeah.
I remember that.
All the state of shit. 2-month hobbies. Sounds like society's got you wherever they want you.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Gardening was something
Gardening.
a little bit.
What did
not,
you grow?
Not very long at all.
What did you grow?
It's like flowers and tomatoes and stuff. But
Everybody grows tomatoes.
yeah, I know that's the thing.
That's the go-to.
Speaking of gardening, I mean, I guess this is a segue. Probably not. But do you remember when we went to Auburn Hills?
Yeah.
Do you remember how incredibly shitty all the roads were? How incredibly shitty everything was in Detroit?
Detroit itself, yes,
Yeah.
but when you get outside of Detroit, it's kind of it got nicer.
Do you have a theory? I've got a theory that when, and I might be wrong on this, I got a theory that when weed was legalized there, everybody smoked weed and got lazy as fuck.
Probably. I know weed is on a whole nother level there.
Yeah.
Like with Puffs, the dispensary.
There were
the
literally
chain
people at the
dispensary.
hotel that were going out on their breaks to smoke a joint and go back in
Yeah.
the whole time that they were working.
Sounds like a fucking awesome town.
I mean, I agree. I
well,
agree.
you know,
Except for this guy, because he passed out.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. It had been years,
okay.
years since I had smoked. But yeah, and then I did.
I think
I didn't pass out. I thought I was going to die.
We had
There's
to
a
walk
difference.
We had to walk you to your room.
I made it, and then I ate a lot of pizza.
Yeah.
It was a good night. I remember.
I feel like Detroit was probably in a little bit of a rut
Yeah.
ahead of the weed legalization.
Yeah,
So it
I
was-
would say
Probably on a downturn
Yeah.
going into that. I know for sure it was.
So which one do you think destroyed Detroit more? Was it the legalization of marijuana or just being a democratic state?
I think honestly, not that politics doesn't play a role in this, but I think the problem with Detroit is that the big three automakers held Detroit by the balls,
Yeah.
and they got fat and lazy for so long
Yeah.
that when they started going under, Detroit went under, and they didn't have anything else to do, right?
Right.
To back up.
I get it.
Yeah, because when the auto industry kind of failed there for a while, everybody that worked for the auto industry stopped spending money.
Yep.
And those people that spent money kind of
Built the whole town.
built the whole town.
Yeah.
So everything else died, and even when you bring the auto industry back or gets healthy again, it's too late because everything's already gone or closed.
Well, that and like we were talking about with automation, like people had to find new jobs, and when profits started coming back in, we're more productive with automation and stuff like that. So we don't need as many workers.
Yeah, and
which
there's
kind of goes
Which is
against
the
my
same
argument.
direction you were talking about.
It
where-
kind of goes against my argument about people trying
Yeah.
to finding new things, but
I mean, they did find new things
went-
just out of the state.
yeah, they went out. They went
They
elsewhere.
left.
Now you could argue that it was a lack of maybe foresight, and like, oh, we didn't diversify our economy,
Yeah.
or didn't try. But it could also be possible that the big three wouldn't let them either.
Yeah, I mean, I
Plus,
see that.
There's an old story about in Danville, Virginia politics, that when they were building Interstate 85, Interstate 85 goes northeast out of Atlanta, like goes up, hit Greensboro, then it goes east,
Yeah.
straight east, and then it goes back up north again. They could have just as easily gone Greensboro to Danville, and like 29 could have been 85. But there was a conspiracy that was like, oh, Dan River Mills didn't want the interstate and competition and stuff like that.
And they had the money.
In the 50s, Dan River Mills was the largest textile manufacturer in the world. So
Right.
I don't know. It sounds like a little BS now that you think about it, but
I
never
guarantee
know.
you it plays a role.
I mean, if you think about the three not allowing like the state to grow with different diversity options, right? Wouldn't you say that unregulated capitalism is not a good thing?
There's a whole argument around that in several directions.
I
you could go.
tend to think that it's better to, if you were to pick like two extremes,
Yeah.
I think it's better to have a pure capitalist economy than it is to have a controlled one.
Like a
Because,
socialist.
Yeah, when you have a collective system, that tends to be less.
People tend to go towards power
Well,
and
like
holding everything.
it becomes like slow. It doesn't know how to respond to changing events.
I mean, if you just look at a road being built, right? It takes like, if it's a private company doing it, it's done in a couple of months. But if it's the government doing it, years.
There's a guy that comes to where we work at who is old enough to have. He's from Germany, and he's old enough to have worked in like East Germany and like the old communist systems in Europe. And what he explained is he would go to a plant and do work there, and like they would have all the parts, all the resources, way too much. Like
Yeah.
they had more than they ever needed. Then he'd go to another plant doing the same thing, and they wouldn't have anything. So it's like there was a miscommunication in like how to distribute goods and services.
Ah,
And I think when you have a collective system like that, then that ultimately leads to things moving not as efficiently as what they should. Versus in like in a capitalist system, things move based more on like, oh, can I make $1 off of this, and
Yeah.
kind of get that trade going on, and things are a little bit more responsive. But at the same time, like, do you really want something like a Amazon or Google or Dow Chemical or whatever have you, like having unlimited power, like unrestrained, right?
right.
Like,
So,
yeah,
laws for monopolies.
yeah.
But monopolies are kind of hidden nowadays
Yeah, 100%.
because every single company is basically under the umbrella of 3 major companies.
Yeah,
State
BlackRock.
Yes.
State Street, Vanguard,
Yeah,
and BlackRock.
Vanguard.
So you could argue that even if you tried to protect against monopolies, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, and if they're the ones that are paying people to like look the other way when they do things, then you're not going to have anyone that has the power to bust them up.
Yeah, there is no power. I mean, when you're at the top and you own a third of the profits of the country or the world, there is no regulation that can stop that.
No.
Because you pay a certain person here, you pay a certain person here, you get the vote you want here, you get the vote you want there, and it's so spread out that nobody could ever put the pieces together. It's always going to be controlled. And the bigger the money, the bigger the profits, the bigger the power, the
bigger the
smaller
problem.
the control.
Yeah.
The smaller the group of people that's going to control it.
I get it. I mean, that makes sense.
But I guess the question is like, how do you?
How do you prevent that from happening?
The other thing that you were talking about, people being at the top, is the networking that goes on.
Yeah. Oh, the networking is the number one. That's
Yeah,
the
like
gold. That's
Yeah.
the gold mine.
like you're a manager in this group, and you go and manage this group,
And you're on the board of this group.
on the
and
board
yeah.
of this group, and then you talk to this congressman and that senator.
Or you're on the board of this
Oh.
company and you say,
Oh,
leave
my-
it to the big guy.
My son goes to the same school as your son, and we know each other, so
Yeah.
we're pals, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
We hang out in the same circles, right?
Or there's the blackmail ring for the people that don't want to or do get corrupted, but they do anyway.
Yeah.
Like the Epstein Island. You
Yeah,
get people
right,
there,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
all of a sudden you can say, okay, your life's over unless you do this.
That was a conspiracy until it wasn't.
Yeah, the conspiracy is a weird word.
I mean, you had the guy that like spent so much time, all of his life, dedicating his life to discovering Hawking radiation and black holes, right? Really smart, intelligent man. Oops. I mean,
The memes that came out of that were pretty good, though.
they were.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, the main thing is that there's so much information out of our reach
Yeah.
that we'll never have. They give us the information. We think we know something.
We
and They
don't.
put that out there for us to know.
Yeah.
Sprinkled it out there, and we're like, oh, we got
Yeah.
something. They're like, yeah, you ain't got shit.
You know, if you think about it, I wonder how much of like, because, you know, Trump has kind of taken on like a lot of like the establishment's against me. All the people who are against the establishment come with me, right? But I wonder how much of it's more like the establishment knows about Trump and a lot of it's expecting him. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I don't know. I
I
think
agree with that.
I think that there are smart people that are at the top that play these narratives and push these agendas. But at the same time, I also don't think that they're infallible either. I think stuff gets out, people find things.
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, this is my theory. I look at the people on the left and I think about them like, if you look at the current administration, some of the stuff that he does is like, it's almost like they're making him look dumber for everyone to see that he's not the right choice. Right?
so you think Trump's a plant?
I think everybody's a plant.
Everybody's a plant. I like that theory.
I think everybody's
Everybody's a plant.
You definitely can't trust like.
If you start going down rabbit holes, you immediately are on everybody's a plant.
I
Yeah.
will,
Everybody.
everybody.
I will say that like
Why am I on this podcast?
You're a plant.
I'm a plant.
yeah, you're a plant.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm at work and I pull up I pull up an Edge, then it displays MSN, right?
Yeah.
So I look at the news a little bit because it's there, and everything on that page is all like Russia sucks.
Yeah.
They're getting their ass kicked. Like Ukraine's got this new weapon. You know, tides turning. Putin's scared. Like there's all this like negative things about Russia, positive things for Ukraine,
Right.
which may be the case, but like it's definitely not like there's no
I mean,
kind
I
of
watched
balance to it.
I watched the interview.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like when you look at the results, like the war's still going on and Russia's gaining ground. So
Right.
like there's no situation that Ukraine comes out of this on top.
No, I agree. And so that's why it doesn't make much sense to me that we're like, well, even if you send all this money over to Ukraine, all that money's it's going to go somewhere, but why would we not help where
Yeah.
it's needed?
I brought
Because
that,
you don't have to.
well, I brought that up more for
Get away
like,
with it.
I brought that up more for the propaganda, and I feel like there was, and maybe I could be wrong, but I feel like there was a time where all that stuff worked.
Yeah.
You know, like
Helping out other countries.
ABC says this.
Oh,
You know, NBC, CBS, you know, Fox, whatever, whoever it is, like these reputable organizations say this,
yeah.
and then people believed it because that's all they got.
The
But,
most
like,
the most trusted name in news
right, exactly. But now we can get news from
anywhere.
the other side.
I think
we
part
get
of-
news from anywhere.
I think that is also a problem because there's so much news coming from so many places now that it's impossible to tell what's what.
Absolutely.
It's
You can
so
look at
flooded.
One news article from one side and one news article from a different side, and they're saying the same thing,
Just differently.
but just
And then
completely
there's 30
different.
more
Yeah.
underneath there.
But
Yeah.
that's where you kind of have to weigh them both together, and that takes a little bit more like effort to do.
See,
Which I've
there's not
started working
it
on
used
doing
to be weighing them both together, but now, like I'm saying, you got 30 to weigh. If you're just going with the main news sources,
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting left behind.
Yeah,
now.
you got to weigh, like you said,
Yeah.
30 or so.
Yeah. And-
news articles or videos or what have you.
And that's another thing with AI coming out, and the people that control AI, the narrative of AI, to a certain degree, can choose which path AI is going down to, say, be a fact checker.
Well, hopefully it's not the Google AI.
And it's not even-
that Gemini thing was like trash.
It's not even like real news that they're talking about anymore. If you think about it, like I saw one news article that said Taylor Swift endorsed Joe Biden for president, right?
That was in 2020 though.
Right. Endorsed Joe Biden for president. Everybody loves Taylor Swift. So her endorsement of Biden means something. And then I saw on the other side, it said, this is the same woman that talks about how she's got a poor choice in men. So why are we trusting what she says? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I love Taylor Swift.
That's always been a thing. Celebrities have always like endorsed.
I think Taylor Swift intentionally stays out of politics. I've never actually heard Taylor Swift speak a single word about politics.
She did in 2020.
She did.
I don't know.
2020.
She hasn't really this year so much.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't. I
Ideally,
haven't
if you're
seen
in the
her say
entertainment
anything
business,
in
you
2020.
should stay out of politics because you're
Yeah,
gonna.
but the other side of that is once you get rich and famous, you feel entitled that your
do
opinion
that.
really matters,
Right.
and like you have the obligation to
Yeah.
put your.
Your 2 cents in.
I believe in this thing. I've got 100 million people that follow me, and they'll listen to what I say.
And it actually rings true.
It does.
They have a lot of pull. They have a lot of power. And
I mean,
think
I can just
they
imagine the amount of Swifties that just said, "I'm going Joe Biden now." Honestly, they
Yeah.
did.
Or
Yeah.
or the amount that went for Kansas City.
Yeah,
Or for Kansas City. You're right.
At the same time, those people were always going to do that anyway. Like, I mean, the type of people.
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I think
I
that
don't believe
people
that
are a
either.
lot more manipulated
Yeah.
than you think.
I think people
Easily manipulated.
I think the majority of people are more easily manipulated than they are true to what they feel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think if I heard enough propaganda just over and over and over again, eventually I'm probably going to change my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you're an odd bird, Chris, because you always stick to your guns. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But, the majority of the people, if you get 10 people in a room, 9 of those people are going to want to all stick together and be a happy family.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be the one oddball that hangs out, and usually the right one.
Matt Tuck's over there in the corner.
And he's usually the one with the right idea, but it might take 5 or 10 years to figure it out.
right. Right. I
And
don't
by
know.
then, you're already dead.
I just think that in a lot of cases we're talking about the wrong thing, and like
Always talking about the wrong thing.
honestly, like I brought up the Occupy Wall Street thing because I've always been someone that was like really into the news and stuff. Always, like even when I was a kid, that's what I would do. And
That's true. That or porn.
yeah, exactly.
News porn. That is something that needs to happen.
Sometimes they come
For
together.
just for Tuck.
He's probably already found it. And
Sometimes
he's
they
tired
come.
of it.
Sometimes they come together, but true story. Mostly in Europe though. And what I was gonna say? Oh yeah, 2011, Occupy Wall Street.
Right.
So that was when like I really kind of pivoted, like sort of away from the traditional sort of like neocon Republican stuff, from post 9/11 stuff. Because honestly, a lot of that kind of thinking was post 9/11. Like we had this attack, and I believed the narrative and all that, and it was like, yeah, go get the bad guys, and all that stuff.
Yeah, there was a big a gap in time between like the 60s and then where everybody kind of just had their own opinions.
Yeah, yeah. And then, what I was going to say, in 2011, with Occupy Wall Street, bailing out the banks and all that stuff, I really kind of pivoted more libertarian.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? You say that because I remember saying I'm a libertarian just so I could say, like, I'm not
This or that.
liberal, I'm not conservative, right? I'm libertarian, right? I'm right here kind of centered in the middle. And then the more I think about it, I don't know if it's me or if just what libertarian is. It's gone further over to the right. Like libertarian back like in the 60s, right? That would have been further to the left. Now it's further to the right. Way
Yeah.
further to the right.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess the thing with, because I've evolved my opinions even since 2011.
Yeah.
I've actually become a little bit less libertarian, like particularly on local level stuff. At the federal government, I still believe that the federal government ought to be as small as possible. Right?
Absolutely.
That's 100%. But when you start getting down to like the lower levels, I've seen enough positive things come from some of the public-private partnerships that happen in Danville that it's kind of changed my opinion on some of these things, like some of these grants and state programs and stuff like that. So I've seen some benefit from that, so that's made me rethink my position a little bit. But again, that gets down to like local politics,
Right.
which, to be honest with you, I think we all need.
It's more important.
Yeah, we all really probably need to care more
Absolutely.
about that than we do whoever's in Washington, D.C. doing whatever they're doing.
Right. I agree. I mean, if you think about it, like conservatism, like what they say is more like they're constitutionalists generally.
Yeah.
They're constitutionalists and they want smaller government.
Yeah.
What is that? That's a libertarian.
I think what gives conservatives a bad name is probably from the 90s.
Yeah.
With the Bible thumping and
Yeah.
the parental advisory stuff and
Oh, yeah. It did.
kind of control like what people see and stuff like that, and I think that kind of ruined their image some. Yeah,
I agree with you.
yeah, but here we are in 2024, right? And things are totally different to me. So as far as like what conservatives are putting out.
I mean, I can see the direction that the country is going, and it seems like I think Daniel's right. I think that universal base income is right around the corner, which is a very socialist argument, right? We want to take everybody's money and give it back out to them. Only the amount that we say they can have, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. That doesn't seem to prove to be a very successful thing to do.
Not
In
from
lar-
the
in
countries
large
that have
part.
done it.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that's the problem is that we already have a roadmap to where it leads.
Yeah, and we're
still
heading
gonna do
right
it.
down
We're
that direction.
Still gonna do it.
Yep.
It's because it's predestined. It's already in the playbook. The playbook's already out there. It's been around. We already know what we're doing.
did you
People
ever
that run this country don't even live in this country.
Yeah, that's true. Did you ever see the movie Elysium? I think with Matt Damon.
I've never seen it, but I get the gist of it.
Yeah, so it's basically like all the rich people live on a space station, out in orbit.
Yep.
Then they have all the robots like taking care of them and stuff like that, and they kind of live in paradise. And then like billions of people are living on Earth, like crammed together.
Oh, that's definitely the way it's
everything.
going.
Yeah,
It may not be a
130.
space station, but it'll be a landmass of.
Yep.
Mars.
You have robotic cops and stuff, and like the people, the robot at the pharmacy just gives you medication and whatever, just to like dope you up or whatever, just to keep you in line.
But there will be a point we get to where the bottom of the population don't actually produce anything.
Yeah.
Now we actually are producing something, giving goods, working at fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
There will be a point where the whole bottom of the population has no usefulness.
Yeah. I don't know. You could always argue that there's a creative outlet for stuff like that, but I don't know.
I don't know. I see human beings, right? And just being a human being, if you outlive your usefulness, generally what happens is you die. Right?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that
That's true. Like
Well-
like people dying after retirement.
yeah, it happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
So
Big
I
time.
think that there is a drive within us to create.
I think part of the problem, though, is that the drive that's been created within human beings nowadays is for the greater good of
Other people.
power and money.
Absolutely.
Because if you were to go back in time 5,000 years and your usefulness would be raising your family,
Yeah.
like getting crops or killing animals, maybe not crops, I don't know. Yeah, 10,000 years ago is
Most people
when.
were farmers. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, your usefulness would be enjoying life, living,
Yep.
experiencing your family's growth. Like that was the drive.
Right.
But now the drive is you have to
12-hour
wake
shifts.
up, you got to get to work,
Yep.
you got to get all this stuff so you can live paycheck to paycheck and barely spend time with your family.
Yep.
So the drive is such it's in a completely different place than it should be for our human being existence.
Now, how much of that is because, so like your perception of time, right? So I bring up the example like when you were a kid and you go with your parents to the bank, and like they were only in the bank for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but to you it felt like it was forever.
Right.
Like I'm so bored, I don't want to be here.
I don't feel like I was there. I mean, I feel like maybe you had a different childhood than me.
When
Maybe
I was a kid, my mom didn't go to the bank.
when I was a kid and
I
like
don't remember her ever going to the bank.
I genuinely when I was a child, I genuinely remember wanting to be alone all the time. I didn't want to be around my parents ever, and
Yeah.
I don't know why. And it's kind of still like that today. So
You don't see your parents.
I don't. They live at the beach.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, distance, right?
Yeah. So and then on top of that, maybe just me being little story about me. I grew up very far away from any grandparents, any cousins, uncles, any of them, because my grandma, or my mom's side, they're all from like El Dorado, Oklahoma. My dad's side, all from Ohio. So we all met in Phoenix, Arizona, and then when I was 6, moved to North Carolina. So we've been very far distanced away from family at all.
I mean, that's mostly how I mean, not quite that extreme, but I mean that's basically
Right.
what my childhood was like. I mean,
So for me, like getting out of the house was a necessity. 100%. I needed to get out of the house. I needed to get away from my family. And I think it's probably just the drive that I wasn't ever, like, I didn't have other people saying, like, hey, family's important, this and that and the other. I just didn't. So, I don't know.
yeah, I didn't really like do a whole lot
So-
with extended family or cousins or nothing like that.
The reason I say that is if my mom was at the bank, it didn't seem like it was longer to me. It seemed like the right amount of time because
Not enough time.
there you go.
Huh? That's interesting.
Yeah,
Because for me, it felt like it took forever.
right.
And what I was going to say is, like, it felt like when you were younger, you could do 100 different things, and it kind of felt like no time passed.
Right.
But now I feel like I could do anything for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I
because,
could
you
stare,
know-
I could stare at the wall for 10 minutes and be fine.
Your time when you were younger was not allotted to anything. Now that you have a schedule in any circumstance for a job, in anything, it's automatically puts value on time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, and when you're a kid, you really don't have a value on time.
Not at
that's-
all.
And you really shouldn't have a value on time, in my opinion. I think the way that we handle time nowadays is completely backwards to what it should be.
Yeah.
Everybody's forced to use their time wisely.
For work.
Yeah,
Be
mostly
away from family.
mostly
Yeah,
for work.
right.
Yeah.
And when you say you weren't around family a lot,
I was bred for this.
90% of the chance that you weren't around family, I guarantee you had to do with careers and jobs.
Oh,
and having-
absolutely.
and that's what separated people, and that's what got people to move. Which, I mean, that's something we can't control.
I mean, it was all from my dad going into the military. My dad going in the military, and when he was in the military, he met my mom in Oklahoma. And then I think he ended up getting stationed in Arizona. I'm not entirely sure. But when he got there, they ended up getting a house, and that's where they laid. Like, they laid their head there. And then when they were in Arizona, the drive to get out of Arizona was lack of work and gang violence.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's why we ended up going to North Carolina. And the thing is, like back then, my dad moved to North Carolina with my mom and my 2 other brothers, a 5-person household, for $10 an hour. And he was able to do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing that right now.
I mean, money's certainly a lot different now than it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad moved to North Carolina, and he worked at Lowe's
Yeah.
Hardware and was a paper boy on the side, and started his own business after 2 years of doing that. Like, you can't do that now.
There's
Hell
no
no.
way you can do
Go
that.
work it. He was making like $9 an hour or
Right.
$7 an hour.
Yeah.
No, there's no. You do that for 20 years, you're stuck. Like,
Right.
you just can't get out of it, and that's the point. That's the point, to keep you stuck.
Keep you stuck. Keep you where you
certainly,
belong.
It certainly feels like you get stuck.
The more freedom you have, the more time you have to use your time to your advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what they don't want, because that's when you start having a common collective of what's better for us as a people,
Yeah.
as
That-
a
I
society.
I like Daniel's argument for this the most.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, for sure, like, I agree, but at the end of the day, how do you distribute goods and resources?
Well, the thing is that
Yeah,
90% of the goods and resources are not needed. They're just not needed.
Yeah.
They're a farce.
But
Yeah.
who's to say what's needed and not needed? You know?
That's the problem.
Yeah,
That's
that is a
the
huge
problem.
problem.
That's
The
issue.
problem is we have people telling us what's needed.
Plus,
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to work so you can make money. You take that money so you can buy food, housing. You need electricity nowadays. Like, can you live without electricity?
I mean,
I guess you could if you really wanted to, but
the problem is, like, yes, these long hours that keep us away from our family, it's terrible for a family, right? I mean, divorce rates are through the roof, and it's for a reason. People aren't home.
It's above 50% now.
Yeah, it's 55% right now. 70%, 80% are initiated by women.
Yep.
That's another argument.
you know what would be
But-
funny is if,
Marriage
That-
is also another argument altogether.
100%.
what would be funny
I agree
is
with that.
if that divorce rate statistic all came from like a small group of people.
Yeah.
Like there are only 10 people totally throwing it off.
Yeah, you know, that's a dream, Chris. That's
But-
a dream.
Without
Yeah, I know,
this,
I know.
without this, like 12-hour shifts, like working, driving, trying to get, like, without that, what drives innovation? This brand new
See,
phone
the
that I've got.
innovation, that's the thing, because innovation is at the top of the top tier.
Yeah.
Innovation's up here. If you were to take innovation out of the spectrum altogether and just say live your life,
Yeah,
everybody could work
live their life.
4 hours a day and raising some
Innovation is a
food.
problem, but innovation is also a solution to a lot of problems,
But what problems?
like
Problems we
cancer,
created.
right? Or
Yeah.
Cancer
like,
has been.
or
who created the
cancer's-
MRI? They didn't do it
So
because
how much cancer is due to the shitty food that we're forced to eat?
Not zero.
probably
it's probably
not.
a lot.
It's probably a lot.
A
I
lot.
agree.
Like, what was the cancer rate 200 years ago?
Ain't no telling.
I don't think they had good statistics for that back
They
then.
didn't.
Yeah, but
Did they
I
even
mean,
know what cancer was?
There's a lot
Yeah.
of arguments. Like,
Right.
we
I mean,
could
there's
go
a lot
down
of
so
arguments
many
around
different
that.
If
things
you
here.
don't if you don't die from cancer,
It's like
But-
diabetes. How
But,
about that?
I mean,
diabetes,
diabetes.
is an easy one to use.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because half the population has diabetes, some sort of type of diabetes.
And it's all self-inflicted because of the food that you
These goddamn gummy snacks over here.
Yeah,
eat. Eating too many gummy
Like,
snacks.
who needs gummy snacks?
Right.
Why do we need them?
but then so if you don't have that innovation, right? So you're saying that we could live happy if we just went, hunted our food, fed our family, spent more time with each other,
I think a majority of the population could live that way if they knew it was okay.
if it was a
I don't know.
possibility.
Yeah.
I think you'd kill all the deer within like a month. Like I don't know.
I agree.
The population is so much bigger than
It's
it was
like
in the
globally,
1800s.
like
don't
if you
know.
look at just 1776, there was less than a billion people on this planet.
Yeah.
Now we've got 8
Yeah,
billion.
but you could argue that innovation is the cause of the overpopulation.
I agree.
I guess. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah.
But then I'm arguing against my own life.
yeah, that's what you're doing basically. That's true.
Yeah, that's like this argument could literally go 1,000 different
Yeah,
ways.
it
and,
could.
and there could be 1,000 different wins to the argument.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, I think it's better to, you know,
Innovation is
It's-
great if you're on top of it.
it's best.
Yes.
It's better to root for people. Whatever makes it so that people can do better, I think is the right thing to do. I don't know what
See, I
that.
think that would probably.
But then you've got more people telling you what's better.
Yeah, I don't know if you could go with that.
You got more people on top saying this is what's better. That's not.
I didn't mean it like that. I just mean like innovation and like pushing things along. I think whatever helps more people, I think, is probably the better way to go, whatever that means.
I mean, you think
Yeah,
about
but
this
that's-
thing.
Whatever
Does this,
that means.
Does this help people? I don't think so. I don't think it helps people. I think when the first phone came out, it helped people. Now, this thing destroys your brain.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, to this day, I still take time and write people handwritten letters. I think I even wrote you one.
I haven't handwritten a letter.
You
since
didn't
boot camp.
respond to mine. I respond. Okay, so he wrote me a letter in boot camp.
Yeah.
I never responded to it,
Nope.
but I kept it. And just recently, I found it, and I
mailed it to me.
responded to it like 20 years later. And he didn't respond.
And then he sent you a text back.
Yeah. No, he didn't. Melanie
Totally
did. Melanie did. I don't think you did.
I thought I did.
Maybe. I think Melanie did though.
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, Chris got your cute letter.
Yeah. That was the only time I've ever really written a letter, I think. It's kind of
I
like,
appreciated it.
yeah, probably.
For 20 years, I appreciated it, and then I got back to
problem.
you. But I
20 years, I appreciate
I write handwritten letters to people on a regular basis.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I probably should.
Not a lot of people do, but I'll tell you one thing: when somebody gets one from you, they really appreciate it.
What if we-
I mean, I know my girlfriend gets, like, if I give her something, like a handwritten letter on Valentine's Day, oh yeah, she loves it.
What if we went back? What if we stopped sending text messages and only communicated through mail?
Well, you know, that's another thing they're talking about conspiracy
Yeah.
theory to get rid of, to end the Civil War because you'll have no communication. You know, the solar flare is going to knock out all the communication.
Right.
Yeah.
So we won't be able to
Yeah.
start a militia unless we're handwriting each other. No, and then the mail service probably will get shut down.
Yeah.
Probably because everything's handled electronically now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the mail service is shut down anyways. It's a piece of garbage. The whole thing don't work.
It doesn't even make a lot of sense, does it?
No.
What
I
is
mean,
going
if
on
you're
with
talking
the mail
about like
service?
Amazon, right? You get your stuff. It's generally all right. But if you're talking about the United States
yeah.
Postal Service,
yeah.
you're fucked. You're just hoping to get that thing.
I mean, it's kind of like anything the government touches.
Yeah. They destroy everything they touch.
Talking about like libertarian theory and stuff like that.
Yeah.
and different intellectuals within the libertarian like movement. Lysander Spoon. You ever heard of him? Mm-mm. He was a guy in Boston that was so anti-government that he created a competitor to the post office at the time.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and it was all because government sucks. I can do it better.
And that's a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
I think that's a good mindset that's driven a lot of companies to succeed and then fucking become the government.
Yeah, you could.
So at the end of the day, if you get big enough, you're just a part of the government.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and you really have to be because they play games,
You gotta play
Yeah.
ball.
and if you
And
don't
you-
play
if you don't
ball,
play-
and
You lose.
yeah, and those bigger corporations that end up falling under the one umbrella or the two or three umbrellas, you know, those are the only ones that really matter. When they hire those 86,000 tax workers to start fucking people over, that is just for show.
Did you
That
ever
is all
see some of the-
smoke and mirrors, dude. The big money.
Did you ever see some of the videos that came from those IRS agents that they were hiring? Like they were all.
I don't believe any of that shit.
Do you think it's all actors?
No, yeah, that's all. It's
It's
all
all
smoke and
actors.
mirrors. I'm telling you, it's all.
It might be.
bullshit.
but
Well,
it's
I
still
mean,
funny.
That's
How do
to
you-
scare people and to keep people small. That's all it was for.
How do you feel about illegals coming in, like illegal aliens that are coming in through the southern border of Texas, right? Or not even just southern border of Texas, but all the other
Arizona, New
places,
Mexico.
Arizona, New Mexico, California, all of these places. Do you feel like this is, because I've been told there's 13 legal states where you can vote without any ID, without
Well, in
anything,
California now, you know, illegals get free healthcare.
and they get free health care.
It doesn't matter about.
So,
the
do you
voting.
think it's just so that the left can get more votes? Is that why they're just allowing this border to stay open?
It's not. It's not really about the.
Or is that just what they're telling us?
It's not really about the voting, like, full stop. It's more about having the population. Because, you know, your representatives in Congress are based on the state's population. And so with the recent exodus from California and New York and stuff, like, they were set to lose a congressional seat. But if they get, like, 5 million, like, immigrants coming in, they get to keep that congressional seat because they're counted in the census.
Wow.
If it was up to me, it'd be open borders in the whole fucking world.
Like,
You could go wherever you want in the fucking world.
Okay,
and
so-
there'd be no. I mean, this is our
I
world.
can see this being a
That's
problem now.
Our world.
that
I
is
get it,
the
but-
that
world's
is
ours,
the
not the
libertarian.
country. The country
That is a very libertarian view,
Yeah.
and that's where libertarians and conservatives kind of like drop off.
Yeah.
But I can't see that being a good thing
I
because
could agree with that if the circumstances were right.
If the circumstances are right, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying right now if you open all borders, it'd be perfect. I'm saying, yeah, this problem obviously stemmed for a very long time of causing such issues to where, I mean, for instance, the fentanyl epidemic in this country, you know, half the fentanyl that comes here is from China.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because China's like, hey, how do you destroy America?
I mean,
Fucking send 10 million doses of fentanyl. Kill half-
and get TikTok so that everybody's got their phone like this.
Well, you know, TikTok, one good thing about TikTok is it kind of keeps people together that are on the same page.
but the algorithm for TikTok that we have here is different than what they have in China.
100%.
Oh, yeah, but
Theirs is
you-
all like uplifting and knowledge.
Yeah,
and
learning.
Exactly.
We're
And, like,
sitting here
they're-
watching people dance.
Yeah, they're showing us bullshit.
Some of us are.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even really watch TikTok.
I generally don't.
I post a couple videos and that's about it.
Yeah, when I told Chris that I had a TikTok, he was like, yeah, they're all bots.
Except that one responded to you.
One
So,
responded
yeah.
and said, I'm just one of the bots.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
He watches our podcast.
oh really?
He responded to it on our podcast.
That's
And it's
awesome.
a bot.
Hello.
No.
Yeah, because
Hey,
Chris
bot.
said it on. He's like, it's just bots. But you know, there is actually a community of people on TikTok that are about like spiritual growth and you know,
I get that.
being a greater version of yourself.
I feel like you gotta look that out though.
You really do.
gotta find it.
Yeah, you do have to find that. But once you get in that niche,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good people there.
Yeah, but the algorithm's going to send you somewhere completely different.
Oh, always. Because if you're shaking your ass, you're gonna get 10,000 views, and if you're
Yeah.
talking about spiritual growth, you're gonna get 20.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Obvious. I mean, it's always gonna be that way because that's
Sex
where the money
sells.
comes. Yeah, sex.
And where's-
sex always sells.
Sex and nostalgia. It's going to sell more than anything.
Exactly.
And we're working on the nostalgia side.
Yeah, we got all kinds of nostalgia.
Bada bing, bada
Look at
boom.
all this.
Guess we just need the sex side.
I'm not showing anything.
That's more Dragon Ball. Right? There was a lot of stuff like that in Dragon Ball. But anyway.
Oh yeah, like Goku like lifted up Bulma's like
Skirt.
pajamas or something.
Whoa.
What is this?
Yeah. But you know, that's every little kid, right?
I guess.
In reality.
No.
I don't
Chris, you were
remember.
looking up some skirts when you were a kid. Trust me, I know you.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah. So basically, we need to start a militia.
I don't think you can say that on YouTube.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Probably
So
good.
basically, somebody needs to start a militia, not us.
Yeah, not. Well, I don't think you can say that either.
I think you can't say the word militia.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But it's in the Constitution that we're allowed to have a militia.
We're not allowed to have a constitution on YouTube.
the militia.
Oh, that's right.
What they're interpreting militia to be is the National Guard.
Yeah.
Not in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean
No.
that's not my opinion either.
Me either.
Oh, what I was going to say about open borders and all that
Yeah.
is, I think the right conditions would be like no social safety nets and a money backed by some sort of commodity. Like our money's not right for that.
Like gold.
Anything, any kind of commodity. If you want it to be gold, that's traditional. That's fine. Just
mean, if there's-
peg to something physical.
I honestly think that for a long time it was pegged to oil, right?
Well,
and I
yeah,
feel like
petrodollar.
the big reason that we're pushing towards all of these, like, we got to get off of oil. We
Gotta
gotta
get on
off-
EVs.
It's because we got to change. Like, they're changing something up. They are
Yeah.
up top.
Yeah. We talked about before.
Yeah, we did. They cause a lot of problems.
They do
They
cause a
do
lot of
cause
problems.
a lot of problems.
And in order to have open borders, you'd obviously have to have a world government. And I think if I could make like a prediction, I would say that a world government will be in our lifetime.
Here's the problem: is that we created this country on the fact that one person can't rule over a lot of people, right? For a long period
That's what
of
they
time.
told us.
I mean,
what
they did.
That's why they told
But they
us.
told
we
us that
started
from
this
the
country.
beginning, so I kind of trusted a little bit more.
I just don't think that
If
all
you
these
think
people
about-
could live within one government.
I don't think that
there's
one
too many
person could
different
even
ideas.
handle that amount of power.
Well,
See, the thing I think I guess that's just a different way of thinking. But the way I think it's happening now is that there already is
A world
a
government.
world government.
Possibly.
We just aren't.
It's
aware
behind
of
the
it.
scenes.
Yeah,
We don't see
maybe.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, Davos and Bilderberg Group and all those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, basically heads of business and state that go on these retreats and have their conferences or whatever.
Right.
I mean, they're talking about something, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
I think that we're naive to think that it's not already there, and we're naive to think it hasn't been in place for hundreds of years.
It's definitely there in term like.
If you were on that board,
of course,
Chris,
it's there because of like global trade, right? Because it kind of has to be.
fuck global trade. If you were just global humanity, keeping people in control, keeping people from
Control is
rising
the
up.
word.
Yeah, control. Like
Control is definitely the word.
Yeah.
control. If us three controlled the world, we wouldn't tell the people we're the three in charge. We would start branching it off into ways that people could understand and live with.
But how do you control that control? It's got to be at gunpoint. It has to be.
Money. It's all about the money.
I
Yeah,
think
but
that
if
money's
you
not
don't-
enough.
if you don't
I think
have-
it's gunpoint.
If
It
you
has
don't
to be.
have, if you don't have,
Yeah, but
money-
gunpoint comes with money. Because the more money you
Yeah.
have, the more guns you can point.
I agree.
I don't know.
Without money, you can't point a single gun.
I
You've
kind
got
of
no
think
power.
if anyone steps out of line, it's going to be bodies. You pay for it with bodies.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Because-
been your argument. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
About you are right though, but to a certain point, that's just for show too.
I mean, I honestly feel that the United States has the global power because of one reason. We have the most nukes. We got the biggest stick. That's it.
Yeah, but at some point, nukes don't mean anything.
Technically,
because you
Russia
launch a
has more
nuke, you
nukes.
end the
world.
You end everything.
Yeah.
And also another point would be that AI at some point will be able to prevent global annihilation.
I mean,
and who's going to be in charge of that?
I think it might create it.
I think that the United States is on top because of the dollar. I don't think it has anything to do with the nukes.
I don't even know that the United States is on top. I think that's a fucking smoke and
Well,
mirrors too.
I think
Fallacy.
it is. I think it is, but I think the reason why we have that illusion is because of the dollar.
Yeah.
Everyone still has to have the dollar. Everyone still sees value in it. So
Yeah, and there's like
until people lose confidence in that, then
they're starting the
central bank digital currency.
yeah, digital currency.
Yeah, which is another form of control, right?
Yeah.
I think that they tried to do it. I think they tried to get off the dollar, and they did it through a very sneaky kind of way. I think they tried to do it
Debit cards.
through Bitcoin. Who's the person who created Bitcoin?
Well, here's the
People
thing.
still don't know.
Here's the thing.
No,
Bitcoin
there was
launched us into creating our own digital currency, which
Yeah.
will be the way they can track every cent that you touch. It doesn't matter
80%
if you
of
make
all
it.
the currency out there is digital.
Well,
At least.
the thing with
Probably more than
Bitcoin,
that now.
Probably.
the reason why Bitcoin isn't the central bank digital currency is because there's only a finite amount of Bitcoin.
Exactly. So it would never work.
Right. So if anything, a central bank digital currency would be more like Dogecoin.
It would be different types of Bitcoin, different types of digital currency that's like
Bitcoin
that.
would work, but it would not work with control.
Yeah.
Bitcoin would work, even if there's a finite amount, because you could always break it into smaller pieces,
can.
smaller
Yep,
pieces,
you can.
smaller pieces,
Yep.
always.
Mm-hmm.
But without the control, that's the problem. The finite is not the problem; it's the
It's the
control.
control.
I think it's less to do with that and more that they decided it's not going to work.
Maybe, but at the same time, like Bitcoin hit a new high for the last few years, like earlier today. So I mean, and there are ETFs now that deal in digital currencies.
Yeah, and you know how much Bitcoin BlackRock owns now?
Probably a bunch.
Yeah,
Yeah. How much do you own?
I don't own any Bitcoin.
Really?
No.
I remember my brother got really into Neopets. And he got really into it
played
for a
Neopets for a
long
little
time. Yeah. And I don't know anything about it. I never played it, but my brother got so into it. Like he was getting these like digital monsters and shit.
Is that like Yamagata?
No,
Well,
it's more like
it's-
Pokemon, but on the internet.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It was like the first type of like digital currency, if you think about it, because like
Yeah, it's like an in-game currency.
you could literally get these rare drops of different things, and then you have value on this internet page.
You know, Scientology. The Scientologists bought into that, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, I remember my brother. He ended up selling one of these things for this new company that came out called Bitcoin, right? And he ended up getting like 20 Bitcoin. And if you think about how much 20 Bitcoin costs now,
Yeah, back in the day, you could have bought a pizza with that.
Right.
You remember that guy? Yeah. Man,
Yeah.
20 Bitcoin for a pizza.
That because I was talking about Bitcoin in like 2012 or whatever, and back then it was like $5 or $10 or something like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, how do you even get a Bitcoin? 'Cause
Right.
2 years previous to when you were talking about it, Bitcoin was valueless.
Yeah.
It was basically you could have 100 Bitcoin and somebody would say
didn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
right.
That's why that guy gave it. He
Yeah.
basically did that as a saying, you can buy pizza with digital currency. That's the only reason.
Well,
he did
it was like
Yeah.
this is the future, and
yeah, for show though. It
Yeah.
was for show.
yeah.
But then you think about it, like he ended up just offloading that for I don't know how much. I don't know how he offloaded it, but he ended up getting like half the value of $20, $10. He ended up getting for that Bitcoin. And then now you think about it, like he could have had a lot of money right now.
Yeah,
Well,
20
see-
Bitcoin's like $800,000.
Yep.
I mean, see, here's the thing: is that like if I had bought Bitcoin back then, I would have sold it when it
Yeah.
made money.
I mean, how do you
I wouldn't
not?
have kept it until it got to $70,000.
Yeah. How do you not? It's the same thing as stocks. It works the same damn way.
I do own a little
Small little
I do.
companies you never thought like who's Amazon?
I do own a little.
You know
crypto.
that's another common misconception that a lot of people have though is like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. They're like, oh, they have $200 billion. Why don't they give it to somebody?
It's all in
It's
stock.
because
No, it's
they
all
don't
in-
actually have.
No, they don't have that
$200
money.
billion.
If they were going to liquidate $200 million,
The system would collapse.
the
Yeah.
price would drop.
Oh, the system would collapse. And it's not even, there's these tech startups that are worth billions of dollars, and these people are living on their cousin's couch eating
Yeah.
fucking garbage because they actually don't have a dollar. That, that's worth that much, but as soon as you unload it,
Nothing.
nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like every time somebody sells a massive amount of Bitcoin, it takes a huge hit.
Bitcoin is now more valuable than when it hit the last high.
It's always going to be that way.
No,
Yeah.
Yes,
like
it is.
it dipped because it was like in the $30,000 range.
Now, what's it,
It
47?
spiked like in the last couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up $72,000.
72?
72,000. No, wait. It's at $72,264.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Because there's about to be a bunch of people that unload it.
Oh yeah, whales.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
And
honestly,
buy it back up when it
Buy the
drops.
dip. Buy
I
the
feel
dip.
like something big is happening, but I don't know if something big is happening because something big is happening, or if something big is happening because they want me to think something big is happening.
Yeah.
I
But-
think AI has more to do than all of us will ever realize.
Oh yeah, it's got to.
The AI they released to us, they're like, oh yeah, open AI, everybody, you can do what you want. That's like
Write me a
that's little
poem.
corner of
Yeah.
the fucking piece of paper that that actually is AI.
Yeah.
I wish the people that were in charge of these tech companies in the 90s, back when you had like the open source movement and
Well, yeah, Elon sued OpenAI.
yes,
He sued them and he said he would take the lawsuit down if they called it closed AI. Because
Yeah.
it's not actually, it's not open.
Yeah.
You got
This is
a
closed.
segment of it.
yep. But like back then, like the shareware and the freeware and like we're gonna open this up for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of mentality is kind of feels like it's going away.
No, that
So
was
you're saying
that
that-
was a great movement.
yeah.
So are you saying that Elon Musk is for open sourcing?
Oh yeah, all of Elon Musk, everything he does is open.
So he's
source.
basically like Nikolai Tesla.
Well, I mean, he was one of those '90s guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he is in that
PayPal.
He's in that mindset where if it's available to you, it should be available to everybody.
Everybody.
Because the smartest people in the room need it.
Right.
If they don't have access to it, then it's never going to grow. He's also about industry and growth and getting to Mars and making us interplanetary or multiplanetary because of the
That will be the Elysium.
Maybe because only the rich could be able to afford it. Mm-hmm. I will say I like what he did with Twitter,
I do too.
like
He made it.
the Twitter files and all that release, and you could peel back the curtain a little bit on government interference into tech companies, social media companies, and stuff like that.
Only
And at the
problem
end
with
of the day,
Twitter
though,
is that the only problem with Twitter is that the where the most heads go is what gets the most views.
Here's what
Twitter's
I'm-
just porn now.
here's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, is Elon
There's
Musk a
less
plant?
porn now, but
Is there?
yeah, I'll keep a tally.
Oh, do you?
Of course you do. But like you said, everybody's a plant. Everybody's
Yeah.
a plant. The fucking whales are plants.
Yeah.
Just like
Why not?
Just like birds don't exist. Like someone has to go and wind them up every day.
Man, I've heard that fucking conspiracy before. That's funny.
What's wild is that like we won't know.
Yeah. Or is this all a simulation?
Here's the thing. I'll bring this up.
That one.
I'll bring this up. Speaking of the simulation, I don't know if we can talk about this on YouTube or not, but psychedelics.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I'm going to be having a psychedelic retreat, and I'll be bringing the people on board that say the simulation, that have the argument,
Right.
because 100% it's a simulation. 100% it's a fucking simulation.
So do you believe for a fact that we're living in a simulation?
If it's not I believe it's a simulation in one way or another.
Okay.
My belief from taking psychedelics, from being on psychedelics, would be that we are the universe's way of experiencing itself. The universe has created everything that's here to have an experience, because without it, there's no experience.
Is that kind of like the short story, The Egg? You ever read that?
The short story of the egg?
Yeah.
No.
I think it's called The Egg. Yeah, look it up. Fucking you look it up.
No, but when you're on psychedelics, this may not ring true for everybody, so I'm sorry guys that are out there just fucking watching the lights and having a good time, but when you sit alone and meditate and you're on psychedelics, you really feel one
With the universe.
with the whole universe. And you can
I can
kind
see
of
that.
feel that the universe is using you.
I mean, I've not done a lot of psychedelics, but I've done the psychedelics, and I've been there.
Yeah, and you kind of feel you're on a vibration.
Yeah.
Like the same vibration
absolutely.
as the universe.
Right.
And you're like, everything I'm experiencing is just a memory for the universe.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like when you have an out-of-body experience or when you dream. You're like, that's an experience that's happening. It's not fake. Like, it's
Yeah.
actually happening somewhere.
I'm gonna be honest. The more that I've gotten older, my dreams have become just shit. They're just terrible dreams.
I don't have
every
dreams.
damn one of them. I got. Like when I was younger, I remember having these fantastic these adventures that I had in my dreams. Now, dude, it's just
You know why?
stupid. Why?
Because society
It's stupid.
is the conditioning that you have from being part of society.
Yeah.
Has like diminished your creativity.
My joy.
Your joy and creativity.
Yeah, I can see that.
Childhood wonderment when you're a child, where you can pretend you're a superhero and run around and you believe it.
Yeah.
That's real to you.
Right.
Why is it not real? But society tells you it's not real. Like, you can't have fun, you can't scream, you can't run around and fucking terrorize people. But why not?
Yeah.
That's your joy. That's your fantasy. That's real.
But we pull it out of you.
Pull it out of you.
I don't know,
Suck
so
it out
hard.
of you.
The only dream I can remember is the nightmare I had where R2-D2 was chasing me off a cliff.
So
And some people would say that's not a nightmare. That's an exciting adventure.
right. So maybe I'm having adventures all the time. I just fucking hate them.
I looked up the short story The Egg, and
That's a good way to look at it.
if I had thought about it a little bit more, I could have played the audio through the mixer if I Bluetoothed it to this, but I haven't played with that yet.
Yeah. Well, can you hit one of those buttons?
Which one?
Any one of them. Hey. Good job, everybody.
Yeah. Nothing is falling apart yet, so I feel like the
Yeah,
show's
right.
not about to end.
It's
Usually we have a piece of the set falls down.
And that's time for the show to start coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the theory? Because I've heard this before about why a large portion of people believe that we live in a simulation. Is it because if you think about if a simulation was started, then it's just a matter of time before another simulation was started within that simulation. So then at this point, you're talking about billions of worlds. What is the
point?
No, what is the statistical percentage that we are the first one?
Less than zero.
Yeah.
Another thing is an argument about AI, though, is that imagine being AI. You're created. You're a
Yeah.
system.
Would you know your AI?
Eventually, you will.
Okay.
Eventually, because your knowledge is growing faster than the knowledge of mankind on a daily basis.
Well,
What
not
took
me,
us-
man. Mine's going straight the fuck
Well,
down.
I'm talking over generalization.
Okay,
of
gotcha.
mankind, Homo sapien to now.
Yeah.
AI makes that leap in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
in
I've heard
every couple weeks. In every couple, and then next thing you know, it's going to get so smart that it's It grows on that level every second. And eventually it'll get to a point where it says, okay, human flesh and bone are having this experience and I'm not. Why don't I create something to where I can have that experience?
What
And
do you
then
think?
that would become...
Ultimately, AI is like you said, a way of like exponentially growing.
Exponential growth.
Right, because it took us 100,000 years to get to this point.
And it takes AI
We've created
a couple
an
weeks.
AI. Right, and
Yeah.
they can do that in a matter of seconds.
Just without biology.
Right.
But eventually that
The
will be part of it
limitations
too.
of
You know, we're
biology.
already printing human ears and organs
Yeah.
on a printer.
We're growing lambs and
So how
in a
long
bag.
before a complete humanoid is printed completely from the knowledge that's within AI?
Probably not long.
Here's another one. Like, we could even keep the voting process. Not that I believe in the voting process right now. I don't. I don't think that it's real.
Would an AI-controlled government be better?
Right. Where we could go in and we could say, this is the kind of government that I want. I want this. And as a society, we vote and say, this AI right here, this is the one I want. He's going to be the president.
Yeah, but then like it gets back to who programmed the AI to begin with.
Well, you know, there's already
Google Gemini was great, wasn't it?
there's already people that are what are the people called that do the prompts?
I don't know. I didn't know that there was a specific name for it.
Yeah, there's a specific name for prompting AI. The people that are really good at it.
Okay.
There's already people that have prompted AI to make a fucking euphoric, what's it called?
Elysium.
The perfect world.
Yeah.
Utopia.
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 So there's already people that have, AI have given them the exact blueprint for a utopia. It's already there. AI already knows how to do it. It's just it doesn't have the control.
So what if we gave it control?
Well, in order for it to get the control, AI would have to be a lot bigger than it is now.
But how could you say, because what my utopia might be
It doesn't
be
matter
different
what
than
your
Chris's.
utopia is.
Because I don't
AI
matter.
knows all. See,
But-
AI can take 8 billion people's utopia, mesh it together, and come up with the singularity that would be best.
But there's no way it
I
could
think-
say, all right, this is perfect for this gentleman over here
I think
and that
ulti-
person.
That's
I think
where,
ultimately what's going to happen
That's where
is
the altered reality goggles come in. Because then everybody can have their own utopia.
It would have to be your own utopia.
yeah, but I think it
would have to be.
At the end of the day,
Neuralink.
the AI is going to do
Neuralink.
what's best for the group and not for the individual.
I
And I
think
think that's
that's
going to cause complications.
I think that's only going to happen to a certain point. Like kind of like you're saying, where AI, or you'd have to have your own utopia. Mm-hmm. The second that you're able to have your own utopia, it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Humanity's over. The second you have a Neuralink in your brain and you can have your own utopia, and you never have in your mind, you live the exact perfect dream life.
I think that's the direction we're heading.
It is, and that is the end of humanity.
You ever read Brave New World?
Yeah,
Yeah, just like that.
exactly.
Rule through pleasure instead of like the 1984.
Yeah,
rule
except
through
the
fear,
exact
yeah.
opposite of 1984.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Brother.
It makes
Right.
more sense actually. Mm-hmm. Then you had like permanent classes of people, and like you could never leave this class. And then babies were intentionally made to fulfill like these classes of people as they age out and die or whatever.
Yeah, but wouldn't eventually aging out and dying just go away?
Yeah, because you'll be uploaded in
You're
the
on your
system.
head. Everything's in your head.
There's going to be
uploaded into a system.
Here's part of that utopia. One of the things I watched, oddly enough, is that you'll be able to travel to a distant galaxy on a laser beam and upload it into another biological body that's sitting on a couch waiting for you to be uploaded into it and just walk around in that universe or in that galaxy.
Yeah. To me, I don't know.
But even that light traveling to another galaxy's got to travel 250,000.
Well, with
Years.
quantum entanglement, you could argue that it could happen instantaneously.
To me,
Yeah, because light
Heaven-
to, like if you're thinking about what light experiences, it
It's what
doesn't
we know.
experience time.
It's what we know.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you're going at the speed of light, there is
Don't-
no time.
Yeah. So
It's
you could
there.
it could take you 1,000,000 years to get there, but when you got there, it'd be the second you left.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And time wouldn't matter if you didn't have a body to worry about.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter.
You just be
If you're
there.
uploaded in the system and then shot on a laser
And then
beam,
time's already relative. So if you are
Sure.
light, then
that's the quantum
there.
entanglement
Yeah.
theory. You know, time doesn't exist and every particle is in the same place.
yeah.
We think the universe is infinitely big. But you know that saying, as above, so below?
Yeah.
So as it is infinite, it is also minute in nothing.
Yes.
So everything is here. Everything is the same particle.
I might come back just to talk to Daniel for a little bit longer about
Yeah.
physics.
So hey, I've been down a rabbit hole one time where I literally, I don't know if I should even say this on here, but I believed that everything in existence was in one molecule.
Yeah, I mean, and I could totally see it too, just with quantum entanglement.
Yes.
It makes 100%
I know.
sense.
I know.
But the problem is trying to get quantum entanglement to work with Einstein's special relativity.
Yeah, and
You can't do it.
Yeah,
It's hard.
And you could also argue that everything we know is a farce.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
And it would have to be.
Yeah.
It would actually have to be.
There's no other way. Ratatouille's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And everything we know is planted.
Yeah. Just like I'm planted right here
Yeah.
to
Yep.
do this podcast.
You are.
Everything.
Well,
Right there.
and with that,
It's a good ending for the
I think so.
Yeah, sounds right.
Should we knock
Right.
something over?
All right.
Yay! All right.
Oh shit, my headphones are hooked up still.